very important day for many reasons. We've had a lot of important days lately, but this is a meeting and a group of people that are doing an unbelievable job in a thing called crime, and in particular, violent crime. Today we're going to be discussing it, and I watched as a very incompetent mayor from Chicago said, well, what do they know? They only arrested 9 people. I said, 9 people? We didn't arrest 9 people. We actually arrested a total of well over 1,000 people. We took hundreds of guns away from young kids that were throwing them around like it was candy. We apprehended scores of illegal aliens. We seized dozens of illegal firearms. There have been 0 murders. It sounds sort of terrible to say. It's embarrassing. I did this over the weekend. I'm making a speech, and I acted like I was so proud as I said, we've had 0 murders in the last week. And some of these people were from foreign countries. They said, that doesn't sound so good. And I said, well, it doesn't sound good, but Washington was the most dangerous place in this country. And now, you know what? It's probably the safest place in our country. Everyone's starting to come here. The restaurants now you can't get in. Many of them closed because they couldn't open with crime. Everybody before me is happy what I'm doing. Most of you won't say that because you're radical left. The newspapers are so dishonest. The press is totally dishonest, but that's all right. We've gotten used to it. And we won in a landslide, so they obviously lost their power. I mean, it's impossible to imagine that when you get 97% negative stories, purposely negative stories, even though you've done 97% positive things, that you could win an election in a landslide, winning all 7. Think of it, all 7 swing states, winning by the popular vote by millions of votes. We had it fantastic. The best is your districts. Out of 3,000 districts, I guess we won 3,500. We won 2,750, and they won 500. And that's, to me, the best of all. And we had tremendous in every way, the election. And it's hard to believe you can do that when you have a corrupt media. But many of you are corrupt, and it's nothing we can do about it. But we keep winning, and we're going to keep winning. And this whole story on crime is incredible that the Democrats wouldn't be with us. So the mayor of Chicago, I watched him this morning, he said, Trump doesn't know what he's talking about. He only apprehended 9 people. Well, number one, that's false. It's thousands. We'll get into that. But more importantly than anything, we took guns away. We have some of the worst career professionals out of the country already. They've been taken out of the country, and some are in solid confinement because these were killers. We arrested some very bad people. And in the last 11 days, again, I hate to say it because it sounds so ridiculous, but in the last 11 days, we've had no murders. And that's the first time that's taken place in years, actually years. We always have a murder a week. They call it a murder a week. You come here from Iowa, you come here from Indiana, you come here from Idaho, because you're so proud of your country, you love your country, and then you get murdered. Your son gets murdered, your daughter gets murdered, you get murdered. See the media, you get murdered. Many of you have been mugged in Washington, you just don't want to talk about it. And I know that every time I do this with you almost everything, but every time I do this with you people are saying to yourselves, he's right, and then you write a negative story. But we are doing an incredible job. The people behind me are amazing. We're working very well with the Washington police, as you know. The D.C. National Guard is unbelievable. We're also getting tremendous help from Secret Service. And we are at a point where Washington is booming again. People are pouring in like we haven't seen for years. Nobody wanted to come here. They didn't want to come here and get murdered. I have a friend of mine who has a very successful son. And I said, where is your son going to be this weekend? He said, he's going to Washington with his friends. I said, really? Yeah, he's wanted to do it for 4 years, but he couldn't do it because it was so unsafe. And he's a tough kid, too. It's so unsafe. And he ended up staying 3 nights, going out to restaurants all 3 nights. He said it was so beautiful, so peaceful, because all the criminals are either arrested or they're hiding, and we're finding the ones that are hiding. So I want to thank Pam Bondi. I want to thank our vice president. I want to thank everybody standing behind me. Because they are really, Gaddy, you've been unbelievable, by the way. They have done an unbelievable job. They're working 24 hours a day. And Washington, D.C. is now in great shape. I'm going to be working with Clark Construction, which is by far your biggest construction company. And we're going to also beautify Washington. We're going to rip down the broken medians, fix them. We're going to put asphalt on the roads. We're not ripping them apart like these stupid people do. They rip a road down to the dirt, and then they spend 5 years in building the new one, and then it starts settling. The whole thing is so crazy. And they'll spend hundreds of millions of dollars on a road. I'll spend about $2, and it'll look better. So we're going to be replacing medians. We're going to be replacing much of the asphalt in the road, which in the city, which is in bad shape. We have great stripers. We have great contractors, but we have to let them do the thing. The Congress had said that they'll give us whatever money is needed to fix up the Capitol. This is the Capitol. And we're not going to spend a lot. It's going to go fast, and it will be spotless. And we want it spotless for the World Cup and for the Olympics. You saw the World Cup was here the other day. And come to think of it, there's your trophy for the World Cup. In fact, it's solid gold. That's actually solid gold, so heavy that some of the people in this room wouldn't be able to lift it up. I think what I'm going to do is place it right above the angel, right over there. That's solid gold, too. We're going to put it right up there. Look at that. There's a solid gold trophy. They know how to get to me, I like the angel better, to be honest with you. So we're going to sign, and then we'll take a few questions, and we'll tell you how good a job we're doing. We want to go from here to other places, but I was telling some of the people that in a certain way, you really want to be asked to go. I hate to barge in on a city and then be treated horribly by corrupt politicians and bad politicians, like a guy like Pritzker. He ought to spend more time in the gym, actually. This guy is a disaster. Gavin Newsom's a disaster. When we went, we saved Los Angeles. You wouldn't have been able to have the Olympics in Los Angeles. You're barely able to have it now. They did lose 25,000 houses to a fire that should have never occurred because they didn't let the water come down from the Pacific Northwest, which you guys don't want to write about. I had to break into the water supply to let the water down. And even now, we want more. We can have much more. It's less than half of what should be coming in. I don't know, they have a political thing about it. It's like the craziest thing I've ever seen. But I don't like going to a town, a city, place, a state, and then be criticized by some corrupt or incompetent governor where crime is rampant. Like, take a look at D.C. Crime was rampant. It was at the all-time worst. It got really bad during the Biden 4 years. And then I have a mayor stand up and say how crime has reached a 30-year low. 30-year low. People are being killed left and right. And it's not a 30-year low. Think of it. So for 11 days, there have been no murders. The record goes back years where that's happened. They haven't seen that happen in years. And then people stand up, and instead of thanking us, which they should do, and she's not that bad. She's better than most. But, you have people. I watched in Illinois. Chicago, Illinois is a disaster. I have property there. It's a disaster what's going on in Chicago. And you get Pritzker, he's violating our rights. I think this is another men and women's sports thing. I think this is one of those, they call them 80-20 issues. I call them 97-3. I think the Democrats better get smart. And, politically, I hope they don't. But actually, in terms of love for the country, I hope they do, because it would be good to work together. So I'm thinking about, when I have some slob like Pritzker criticizing us before we even go there. I made the statement that next should be Chicago because, as you all know, Chicago's a killing field right now. And they don't acknowledge it. And they say, we don't need him. Freedom, freedom. He's a dictator. He's a dictator. A lot of people are saying maybe we like a dictator. I don't like a dictator. I'm not a dictator. I'm a man with great common sense, and I'm a smart person. And when I see what's happening to our cities, and then you send in troops, instead of being praised, they're saying you're trying to take over the republic. These people are sick. But I'm really saying, and I say this to all of you, in a certain way we should wait to be asked, because they have cities that are so under control, out of control. So we go in and fix it. They take the full credit for it, and they go out and say, I heard it this morning. They're saying how well they've done over the last 10-day period, that they set record lows. They don't say that we're there with very tough people, by the way. They have to pass the toughness test. Otherwise, they're not working for us. So, and we're allowed to do that now according to the United States Supreme Court decision. Now, they have to pass a toughness test. If they're not tough, we don't want them for this job. They might be great for other jobs, but not for this job, because they're respected. You saw the gang of kids. They were all huddled up, and a group of soldiers walked up. They never even got over. Those kids ran back to their homes or wherever the hell they came from. They were gone. This is one of the safest cities right now in the world, as crazy as that sounds. And it took 7 days. It took really 3 days, but we're now on our 11th day. So I want to thank you. So we had all of these things. 439 illegal alien criminals have been removed, and we have 6 known gang members, some of the worst leaders of gangs anywhere in the country, MS-13 and Tren de Aragua. We have 2 missing children that have been recovered. They thought they were gone. We brought them back to the family. The family started crying. They couldn't believe that they saw their child again. 49 homeless encampments have been removed. Like, we have the head of South Korea coming in a little while, the president, and he drives down the street. Already, his people have told me, he said, what happened? It's so clean. We always came here, it was filthy dirty with homeless and papers all over the road. That's the other thing. Those roads are swept immaculate. But they're going to be much better in a few months when we put a topping on them. They're going to look like they're brand new. We'll get rid of those rusty old medians that have been crashed into 1,000 times, and they don't fix them. They just let them, they lay them down on the road, and they sit there for months. But we don't do that. We don't run things. We run things like we run this. We like clean, we like beautiful, we like safe, and that's what we're getting. So I'll start signing the executive orders. To me, this is a very, very big deal. One of the executive orders has to do with cashless bail. That was when the big crime in this country started. And I can tell you who did it, when, but I don't want to do that because others followed pretty quickly. But that was when it happened. Somebody kills somebody, they go in, don't worry about it, no cash, come back in a couple of months, we'll give you a trial. You never see the person again. And, I mean, they kill people and they get out. Cashless bail. They thought it was discriminatory to make people put up money because they just killed 3 people lying on a street. Any street all over the country, cashless bail. We're ending it, but we're starting by ending it in D.C., and that we have the right to do through federalization. Okay, let's go. Could I ask you to say exactly what this is?
Of course. So, as you've consistently identified, sir, cashless bail policies are a key driver of the disorder we see on city streets all over America. Catch and release system allows criminals to keep going back out onto the street and reoffending. What this executive order does, it charges your Attorney General with identifying jurisdictions all over the country that have cashless bail policies, and then it withholds or revokes federal funds and grants that are flowing to those jurisdictions to ensure that we're only supporting the people who have reasonable common sense policies around crime.
So what area does it cover?
Potentially anywhere that has a cashless bail policy. So some of the largest cities, some of the most left-wing states in America
Almost
have adopted.
all of them, right?
Illinois would be a great example of that, sir.
Oh, they have a great cashless bail. You don't even have to go to court sometimes. No, Illinois, I love that state. It's a great state, but it's run so badly by Pritzker. They threw him out of the family business, and he becomes governor. Now he wants to run for president. I don't think that's going to happen. Okay, we'll sign right here, right?
Sir.
So important. And this isn't Republican, Democrat. This is, and by the way, most Democrats agree with this. But this is just, we got to bring our country back. Okay? That's a big one.
Also on the issue of cashless bail, sir, this is a D.C.-specific executive order. In addition to the measures that we're taking that are quite similar to what we're doing around the country, in D.C. in particular, the objective is holding as many criminal defendants in federal custody and subjecting them to federal charges as possible. That means that they'll be held pre-trial in federal jail as opposed to just being cut back out on the streets due to a cashless bail policy.
Okay? And we have the room. And by the way, the prison they have in D.C. is horrible. It's horrible. People were subjected to live in that dog trap for so long, so unfairly. I have stories, you'll be hearing about them. That prison is horrible. Okay?
This is an executive order that contains a number of additional measures relating to crime and law enforcement in Washington, D.C. It charges, for example, your Secretary of Defense with establishing specialized units in both the D.C. National Guard and the National Guard units around the country, specifically trained and equipped to deal with public order issues. It charges all of your various federal law enforcement agencies with hiring additional personnel to allow them to surge personnel to Washington, D.C. to deal with the current emergency here. It does a number of other things in that space, and it also asks the Attorney General to look at D.C. Metropolitan Police general orders that have currently impeded law enforcement efforts in the city, and to potentially look at unwinding those that are stopping the police from doing their job effectively.
And are we going to ask this to be codified by Congress, all of these things?
I think we could potentially, yes, sir.
I think so. I think we should. I think we'll get it. I think Democrats will vote. Well, it's hard to believe that they might not, but I think Democrats will actually vote for this. There's no auto pen that can do that. Right? Look at that, Pam. Is that a good signature? Seriously, is that a good signature? Who can write like that? Nobody. I don't know. That's the other thing. I assume we're looking at the whole auto pen scandal.
Sir.
Because the person that ran it said he spoke to it briefly twice about nothing. That means that all those pardons that he gave to some very bad people, very unpatriotic people, very evil people, it looks to me like those pardons are worthless. Because, number one, you shouldn't use an auto pen, very specifically. But if you do, it has to be a very good reason. And they have to know that the president wanted it. The president didn't want this. The president didn't know he was alive, okay? He never approved any of this stuff. He wasn't for open borders and all the other things. He was never for open borders. I've known Biden a long time. He was never very sharp, but he was never in favor of open borders and all of the other things he did to destroy our country. Let's go.
Lastly, sir, this is an executive order on flag burning. It charges your Attorney General.
Would you listen to this? This is very important. Flag burning. All over the country, they're burning flags. All over the world, they burn the American flag. And as you know, through a very sad court, I guess it was a 5-4 decision, they called it freedom of speech. But there's another reason which is perhaps much more important. It's called death. Because what happens when you burn a flag is the area goes crazy. If you have hundreds of people, they go crazy. You can do other things. You can burn this piece of paper. But when you burn the American flag, it incites riots at levels that we've never seen before. People go crazy. In a way, both ways. There are some that are going crazy for doing it. There are others that are angry about them doing it. Do you want to discuss that?
Sure. So what the executive order does, sir, it charges your Department of Justice with investigating instances of flag burning, and then where there's evidence of criminal activity, where prosecution wouldn't fall afoul of the First Amendment, and instructs the Department of Justice to prosecute those who are engaged in these instances of flag burning.
And what the penalty is going to be, if you burn a flag, you get 1 year in jail. No early exits, no nothing. You get 1 year in jail. If you burn a flag, you get. And what it does is incite to riot. I hope they used that language, by the way. Did they?
Yeah, incitement is
incite to riot. And you burn a flag, you get 1 year in jail. You don't get 10 years. You don't get 1 month. You get 1 year in jail, and it goes on your record. And you will see flag burning stopping immediately, just like when I signed the Statute and Monument Act. 10 years in jail if you hurt any of our beautiful monuments. Everybody left town. They were gone. Never had a problem after that. It's pretty amazing. We stopped it. But this is something that's, I don't know, in a certain way it's equally as important. Some people would say it's more important. Because the people in this country don't want to see our American flag burned and spit on. And by people that are, in many cases, paid agitators. They're paid by the radical left to do it. You talk to these people, they don't even know, half of them don't even know what they're doing. They say, I don't know, they gave me money to do this. I see the same things that you do. They're bad people. They're trying to destroy our nation. That's not working, because I think our nation now is the most respected nation anywhere in the world by far. You saw that with the European leaders on Friday. You saw that with NATO, where they agreed to go from 2% no pay to 5% fully paid up, trillions of dollars paid, where they respect your president to a level that they jokingly call me the president of Europe. They call me the president of Europe, which is an honor. I like Europe, and I like those people. They're good people. They're great leaders. And we've never had a case where 7 plus really 28, essentially 38 countries were represented here the other day. 38 European countries were represented. European and other countries were represented. And it was a great meeting. But your country is respected again. I say it all the time. 1 year ago, our country was dead. Everybody said it. We had a dead country. We were not going to survive. Now we have the hottest country anywhere in the world. So it's an honor to be involved. And this group has a lot to do with it, right behind me. Does anybody behind me have anything? Pam, would you like to say something?
Sure, President. Thank you for keeping D.C. safe. You know, just a couple examples of a mother, a single mom, whose house was burglarized, and the defendant got out on cashless bail, went back the next night and burglarized her house again. That's why this is so important. A man got in a fight with another guy. He had a gun. He was let out. Next night, he got up, went back, and killed him. So that's why it's so important, President, what you're doing. And thank you for protecting the American flag. And we'll do that without running afoul of the First Amendment as well. And President, I think I think Gaddy Serralta had something he wanted to give you on behalf of all the law enforcement who are out there every single night.
Yes.
Thank you for putting me in charge of this surge as the director of the United States Marshal Service. It's the oldest law enforcement agency. It was created in 1789. So on behalf of all the federal law enforcement agencies that we're working with and those that have yet to join the team, we thought it was only appropriate to present you with an honorary United States Marshal Service badge. And this badge comes with this little item right here, which is a handcuff key, Mr. President, because you continue through your policies and your efforts with your staff to unhandcuff law enforcement officers all over this nation. And I can tell you personally that they thank you for that.
Thank you. That's beautiful.
You can continue unhandcuffing law enforcement.
That's a very great honor. I'll save that and put it someplace up, which is important. Thank you very much, Gary. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Really nice. Thank you. That's very nice. Thank you. Well, we love those people. They're brave and they love our country and they don't want to see it. Do you know how many people volunteered for this job? And before I ask the VP to say a few words, because he feels very strongly about it, I think it's very important, Pam, that when we do this, that a state required, they come and ask us. I mean, I see Pritzker saying, we don't want them. In the meantime, his city is being shot to hell. And they do that politically. And they probably do want it. If we didn't go to Los Angeles, you would literally have had to call off the Olympics. It was so bad. And the sheriff and the law enforcement people, but the sheriff said, and he came out very strongly, he said, if we didn't have these people, we were not able to control it. Now, 4 days later, after we had it totally under control, we did that quickly. He changes to it a little bit. Well, I think we could have done it. You know, they were dead. If we didn't send in the troops, Los Angeles was dead. The Olympics was gone. The World Cup was gone. Everything was gone. We did a great job. And Newsom, he's an incompetent governor. But I think people should want us to be there because otherwise all they'll do is complain as we do our job. So we'll have to think about that. Okay, we go in like in Washington. We go in and the people that are here that have been doing, I don't want to say terrible because she happens, she's a nice woman, I guess. I don't care about if she's nice, I really don't care. I want her to do, I'd rather have her be horrible but do the job. But we come into Washington and we have the 11 best days they've had here in 2 centuries. I mean, they've never seen anything like it. Let's go 2 decades. In over 20 years, they haven't seen anything like what happened. And now they're out there saying, we don't have crime in Washington. Well, that's true. For 11 days, you don't have crime. But before that, everybody was getting hit and mugged, and you people could not walk to your office without security. That's how unsafe it was. So I think we should really let them have their city, let their city go to hell, and when they come and beg us to help. The only problem is we want to save it for the people, because the people want us there. The people here, 95% of the people here want us. The real people, not the people you find on, I don't know where you find these people. You have one person has a broken nose. Where'd you get it? Well, I was mugged. Good. Do you want to see Trump here with? No, I don't want. The woman has a broken nose. She got mugged. But she's saying she doesn't want any protection. It's all made up fake news. It's just fake news. I don't know where you find these people. Anyway, would you say a couple of words, please? And then I'm going to ask JD to say something. You have done an unbelievable job in a short period of time.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Highly recommended by, you know who, right?
Yes, sir.
Do you want to say his name?
Mr. Youngkin, Governor
Yes, sir.
Youngkin. Yes, sir.
We stole you from
He
Governor
called
Youngkin.
me.
Right.
He called me. Glenn Youngkin called, and he said, "I have somebody who's really fantastic." And based on that recommendation, here you are. And you've done a fantastic job. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Go ahead.
The men and women of the Metropolitan Police Department are back. They enjoy doing their job again. They feel the ability to go out and be law enforcement officers. They feel that they're connected to their communities again. They are making a difference. Thanks to you, Mr. President, and our federal task force, you are making D.C. safe once again. Thank you, sir.
It's going to get better and better. Well, it can't get much better. There's no crime. I read where crime's down 89%. I said, really? Who are the 11%? Okay? There's no crime. JD, please.
Yes, sir. Well, thanks, Mr. President. Thanks to the incredible team here. You know, I want to echo something the President said, where you say there haven't been murders in a couple of weeks in D.C., and it doesn't sound good, but then you talk to local law enforcement, and I didn't realize that this town averaged one murder every other day for the last 20, 30 years, which means that in 2 short weeks, the President and the team have saved 6 or 7 lives, people who would have been killed on the streets of D.C., who are now living, breathing, spending time with their families, because the President had the willpower to say, no more. We're not going to give the streets of D.C. over to vagrants and robbers and murderers. And the last point I want to make, sir, to your point about we want people to welcome us, to ask us, because look at Governor Pritzker in Illinois, or Governor Newsom in Los Angeles, or Governor Moore in Maryland. They are angrier about the fact that the President of the United States is offering to help them get their crime under control than they are about the fact that murderers are running roughshod over their cities and have been for decades. Why are Democrat governors angrier about federal law enforcement helping clean up their streets than they are about the fact that those streets need to be cleaned up to begin with? It shows a real sickness in the head. And I agree with the President of the United States. I think most Democrats, rank and file, nobody likes crime. Republicans don't like crime. Democrats don't like crime. Independents don't like crime. Why are Democratic governors doing everything in their power to make crime easier to do in their cities? It doesn't make an ounce of sense to me. But, Mr. President, I appreciate you being willing to help. And I hope these governors take you up on the offer, because we should clean up all of America's streets. It's the right of every American to live in safety and comfort in their community.
And we've got the people to do it. They're signing up like they've never signed up before. Our military, as you know, during the campaign, nobody was signing up. We were way short of their goal, we were understaffed. Nobody wanted to be in the military. Nobody wanted to be a policeman. Nobody wanted to be a fireman. They didn't want anything to do with the country. We had an grossly incompetent president who frankly should not have been there. He should have never been there. The damage he did to this country is incalculable. I mean, just what he has done. So much of our effort are getting murderers and jailbirds and people out of this country who are drug dealers at the highest level. So much of the energy of people that he led in, it was an unforced error. But I don't think they think it's an error. But I don't believe he believed it. It was the radical lunatics that surrounded this guy at this desk, who are brilliant people, but with the wrong philosophy. There were some brilliant people, but they're evil people, and they're going to be brought down. They have to be brought down because they really hurt our country. But we're getting it back very quickly. And I'll tell you something, our country's now it's stronger. I think we're more respected than we've been respected in 100 years. It's a whole different ballgame. JD, could I ask you,
Yes, sir.
You gave a stat on murders here. What were the numbers? You said in a short period of time how many people were murdered?
Local law enforcement told me, sir, that in the past 20 or 30 years, D.C. has averaged a murder every other day. That's, 200 murders a year, 150, 250, but about every other day a person has been killed on the streets of Washington, D.C. We've been doing this for 2 weeks. 0 people killed. That's real lives saved that the media and, frankly, the entire Democratic Party should be saying, thank you for saving lives instead of attacking the President of the United States for doing so.
When a person, unfortunately, will probably happen at some point when a person's murdered in D.C., it's going to be the biggest story maybe in history. Right?
Yes, sir.
Somebody was murdered in D.C. Trump is failing. No, we're not failing. We have a safe city. This is maybe the safest city in America right now. That's how good it is. And it would be nice to be appreciated. These people eventually, they're going to have to be appreciated for what they're doing. And they're going to have to be appreciated by the officials that are really happy when we go in because they've lost control of their place. Steve Miller, please, say a few words.
Thank you, sir. So just to, first of all, follow up on what the Vice President said. No police officer working in the city can remember a time in their lives when there has been no murders. You can work at the police department for 20 years, 30 years, your whole life. We've checked the records. No one can even find a record of being murder-free for as long as you've been murder-free under President Trump's leadership. Additionally, and the President spoke about this before, we've uncovered, in the process of uncovering, a massive scandal in Washington, D.C. with the doctoring of crime stats. And the Department of Justice, under the Attorney General, is leading the effort to uncover this. But when we ultimately share the results, it will stun you. The extent to which, even though D.C. had the worst crime in America, honestly measured, it dramatically understated how bad it was. There's even accusations that murders and homicides were reported as accidents instead of murders. I mean, this is how severe the manipulation of the crime data has been in the city, and it will all be uncovered and it will all be brought to light. I've had a chance to spend some time, as has everyone here, with the police officers in the city. Members of the public are going up to them and thanking them, just overflowing with gratitude, because for the first time in their lives, they can use the parks, they can walk on the streets. You have people who can walk freely at night without having to worry about being robbed or mugged. They're wearing their watches again. They're wearing jewelry again. They're carrying purses again. People had changed their whole lives in this city for fear of being murdered, mugged, and carjacked. It is a literal statement that President Trump has freed 700,000 people in this city who were living under the rule of criminals and thugs. And the last thing I'll say is that under the efforts of Terry, to my left and many here, what they found also is that the street criminals here in Washington, D.C. were doing business directly with the transnational criminal cartels, the foreign terrorist organizations. So not only was the city being run by these criminal thugs, but they were working with some of the most dangerous terrorist organizations on the planet to traffic weapons and drugs into this city. And what we are uncovering every day is shocking to us, and we look forward to sharing all the results with you. But President Trump, your leadership has uncovered some of the great public safety scandals of our life, and now because of you, people are safe and free for the first time ever in this city.
Thank you very much, Steve. In Los Angeles, Beverly Hills is, a great place. I have a house there. I had a house there. I used to stay a lot of time, spend a lot of time there, and a great place. Do you know that I have friends, they leave their trunk open for their car because they know they're going to be vandalized. They don't want the trunk ripped off in order for them to steal what's in the back. They leave the doors open so when they go in to steal the radio or whatever they take, that they don't rip off the door. They leave the doors totally open so the criminals, when they go and open the door, they'll have to break the windows and kill the car in order to steal whatever it is in the car that they're looking for. And that's at a level that nobody's ever seen before. Nobody lives like that. I have another friend, he has a garage, and in order to save his garage door, he leaves it open so that people can just walk into his garage, take whatever they want, and leave. But all the cars so many cars, I've been told this by many people, stars, big people, they leave their doors open so the doors aren't destroyed by these criminals. All over Los Angeles this is taking place. And you know that. I mean, you've heard that. Christy, could you say a few words?
Sure. Well, Mr. President, I think one of the most impactful statistics that you used today was of the 1,000 arrests that have happened already so far, 439 of them were illegal criminals, which means they never should have been in this country to begin with. That they were in this country, invaded over our southern border or our northern border or maritime seas, and then they committed crimes against the American people. So by getting those individuals incarcerated, we've stopped those violent crimes from happening here in the city. And sir, they do. Exactly like Stephen was talking, they have ties to cartels. They have networks across this country and other cities. So by what you're doing here is going to have a ripple effect in Miami, in Chicago, in other cities, because you're grabbing those networks and giving us information and targeting information to go and get more criminals across this country. So thank you for the work that you're doing. We have ICE and CBP, Federal Protective Services, Secret Service, HSI. All of our officers are working with all the other agencies every day here in DC, and they're so proud to have this kind of partnership. So they're so glad that you're letting them do their jobs again. And I don't know if you've heard, sir, but the recruitment campaign for ICE, when we were going to hire 10,000 new officers, we've got over 130,000 people that have applied and raised their hands and said they want to work with ICE. So no matter what the fake news says or what the media says about ICE not having support, they've got incredible support from the American people. People want to join them and help them do what they're doing to make America safe again. So thank you for the
I was going to say that our recruitment drive, so it was dead. During the campaign, they couldn't get, every story was the Army can't fill up, the Marines, none of them could fill up. They were way behind. We couldn't get anybody to go into the military, couldn't get any police. We have just set records on everybody wants to be in. Everybody wants to go in. And we're taking incredible people. I mean, the level of, because of the Supreme Court, it's based on merit. It's all based on merit now. It's not based on anything else. You got to, if you need strong people, you have to get strong people. It's all based on merit. But we're setting records in the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, the Coast Guard. One of my favorites, because I happen to have created it, Space Force. We're very proud of Space Force. It's amazing what it's doing. We're leading in space now. China was killing us. Russia was beating us. China was killing us. We're now killing China. We are leading in space by a lot because of Space Force. So we're very proud. But everybody wants to go in. We went from not, and you know how bad that is for the spirit when every story that you were writing a year ago was that nobody wants to go into the military anymore. And if you're in the military, you know how deflating that is? You go home to your family. Nobody wants a job that you have. Well, now it's the opposite. Everybody wants to be there. And that includes police and fire and everything else. You're doing a good job.
Thank you, sir.
You're stopping a lot of wars. just the presidents we're stopping. We've stopped 7 wars. And really the number is actually 10. We're not including a couple. And we're not including in there what we did with Iran, stopping their nuclear play. They would have had within a month or two, they would have had a nice big nuclear weapon to use. That's not going to happen. That won't happen. Pete, go ahead, please.
Yes, sir. Well, Mr. President, thank you very much for your leadership. And the Defense Department is proud to be a part of this task force. Just like we have been down at the southwest border, where crossings are at 0. We've got national defense areas where we're working with Border Patrol to secure the southern border for the American people. Just like Los Angeles, where ICE officers deserve to do their job without being attacked, we're really proud to be a part of defending the nation's capital and ensuring it is safe and beautiful and working with law enforcement. And Mr. President, let me tell you, the morale of the troops, getting out there talking to them, they love this mission. They're grateful to be doing it, whether they're DC National Guard or other state National Guards. And at your direction as well, sir, it's just common sense to make sure they're armed as well. And so we're rolling out ensuring they're armed, capable of defending themselves and others if need be, supporting law enforcement, and we're proud to be there, sir.
Well, look at the mission you just accomplished with Iran. 36 hours back and forth, flawless. Every bomb hit its target. They went right down those chutes, dark at night, no moon, no nothing. Every target, every bomb went right down. They have a chute that goes right down deep into the mountain. And they shouldn't have put ventilation in, I can tell you, because we used that for our advantage. But what they did, and we had the pilots and even the people that took care of the planes, we had a whole group of people at the White House a couple of weeks ago. And, you know, I didn't realize this, but they said, we've been looking at their predecessors, and then these were the pilots. They said, we gave them beautiful medals. And I'll show you the medal. Gave them a medal just like this. See? Just like that. They were so happy. Gave a lot of them out for that. It was an incredible job. You know, we had 52 tankers. People don't realize, so that they could refuel. We had many fighter jets, F-22s, F-35s. We had many. It was an amazing operation. It was flawless. Compare that to the operation when they went in with the helicopters crashing and everyone running around the desert, and the prisoners being taken, and that was Jimmy Carter. And what a horrible thing. This was the exact opposite. This was the exact opposite of what they did in leaving a very, very nice place. The Taliban runs a tough operation in Afghanistan, and I think it was the most embarrassing day in the history of our country. That was Biden. I was leaving, and we would have left through strength, tremendous strength. We would have kept Bagram, which is the air base, one of the largest runways in the world, one of the most powerful. You could land anything on it, many, many feet thick. You don't build them that way anymore. You can't. But we left it, and now China's occupying that air base. This was the most incompetent administration in history, the Biden administration. And you're just lucky that they lost, because if they won, you wouldn't have a country anymore. And so, Pete, you started off by saying the Department of Defense. And somehow it didn't sound good to me. You know, it didn't sound good. Defense, what are we defense? Why are we defense? So it used to be called the Department of War. And it had a stronger sound. And as you know, we won World War I, we won World War II, we won everything. Now we have a Department of Defense with defenders. I don't know. If you people want to, standing behind me, if you take a little vote, if you want to change it back to what it was when we used to win wars all the time, that's okay with me. All right?
That's coming
You
soon,
go.
sir.
You let me know if you want to do it. I think Department of War. It just sounded bad. He said, sir, on behalf of the Department of Defense. Defense. I don't want to be defense only. We want defense, but we want offense too, if that's okay. So you'll make a decision. But you know, as Department of War, we won everything. We won everything. And I think we're going to have to go back to that. In the meantime, I've stopped all of these wars. I've stopped them. The big one would have been India and Pakistan. But we stopped them all. We stopped 3 wars. Go to Africa. They like to say, oh, you know, I love black people. And I did great with the vote with the black people. But they say he's a racist, he's a racist. I said, really? For 35 years, a war raged between Rwanda and the Republic of the Congo. And it was a vicious war. 9 million people were killed with machetes, largely. Hatchets, machetes. That went on for more than 30 years, but 34, 35 years. And I stopped it. In fact, the presidents are coming in a week or two to sign. We have the foreign ministers, it's all signed, the war stopped. But I got it stopped and saved a lot of lives. The Congo, that's deepest, darkest Africa. I got that war stopped. Nobody else could have done that. We did a lot of jobs. We did a lot of wars were stopped that nobody thought would even be possible. And I'll tell you what, the war with India and Pakistan, that was the next level. That was going to be a nuclear war. They already shot down 7 jets. That was raging. And I said, you guys want to do trade? We're not doing any trade. We're not doing anything with you if you keep fighting. You got 24 hours to settle it. They said, well, there's no more war going. And I used that on numerous occasions. Trade. I used whatever you had to use. But we got 7 of them stopped. And the one I thought would be easiest, frankly, was going to be Russia and Ukraine. But that turns out to be some big personality conflicts. It's one of those things. But we're going to get that stopped eventually. We're going to get that stopped too. 7,000 soldiers died last week. Think of that, 7,000. I usually say 5,000, but 7,221 soldiers died last week in the fighting between Ukraine and Russia. And they're not our soldiers, but they're souls. They're living souls, and they leave their homes, and they wave to their parents, and their parents are so proud as they leave in a beautiful uniform, and a week later they get their head blown off by a drone. New form of military. It's a whole new form of fighting. So I would just like to thank the people that are behind me. Thank you very much. You've done a fantastic job. I appreciate it very much. We're doing a real job, and I'm so proud of D.C. I passed it 2 days ago, and all the garbage is off the streets. It's terrible. I came in a month and a half ago, I'm driving down and I see garbage all over the place. The streets were a pigsty, like I won't use the city's names, but you know what I'm talking about. There are plenty of them outside of this country and inside of this country. Baltimore is a horrible, horrible deathbed. It's a deathbed. I know Governor Moore said, oh, he wants to take a walk with me. He meant it in a derogatory tone. I said, no, I'm the President of the United States. Clean up your crime and I'll walk with you. But it's tremendous crime. But he was trying to be derogatory. He doesn't have what it takes. But he's trying to be derogatory. And I met him at the Army-Navy game. They said, oh, there's Governor Moore. He'd love to see you. He came over to me. He hugged me. Shook my hand. You were there. He said, sir, you're the greatest president of my lifetime. I said, it's really nice that you say that. I'd love you to say it publicly, but I don't think you can do that, so it's okay. But no, sir, you're doing a fantastic job. I want to just shake your hand. Thank you very much, Governor. That was it. And then every time I see him on television, he's knocking the hell out of me. So, but that's all right. That's called politics. But Governor Moore's he's doing a bad job. Newsom's doing a bad job. All of their potential candidates are doing a bad job. I can't imagine Pritzker being even a candidate, but somebody said he is. He can't do the work, can't do the job. He's not temperamentally suited. So I just want to thank you all for being here. Do you have some questions?
Yes, is the Pentagon, and maybe the Secretary of Defense can weigh into, is the Pentagon preparing for military deployment to Chicago? And with what you said there, are you waiting for the governor?
We're ready to go anywhere. We have a full complement of great human beings. We're full. You know, our military is full. We were way empty 1 year ago. Now we're full. So we can go anywhere on less than 24 hours notice.
Are you waiting for the governor?
And we're doing a lot to interdict to stop drugs from coming in too. We have ships out on sea. You know, we have nobody coming through our border anymore. Nobody. Doesn't that feel good to know that you don't have prisoners coming in and, you know, killers, murderers? We had 11,888 murderers come in, let in by the Biden administration. Many of them have been captured, but we still have a couple of thousand that are out there. Some of them, 50% of them killed more than one person, okay? But a lot of them have been captured. What they've done to our country, these people that circle this moron that we had behind this desk, what they've done to our country is unthinkable. It's unthinkable. I mean, if you think so much of our time is devoted to correcting a problem that all they had to do is say, close the borders. Remember when he said, well, I have no power to close the border. I have to go back and get an act from Congress. I didn't get an act from Congress. I came in, I said, close the borders. And Tom Homan, who's not here, has been fantastic, Christy, right?
Yes.
Tom Homan is great. He's a fantastic man and respected by everybody. But I said, Tom, close the borders. Christy, close the borders. The borders were closed. We didn't go to Congress and get permission. We just closed the borders. And in the last 3 months, hard to believe this one too, in the last 3 months, we've had 0 people come into our country illegally through the southern border. Nobody would have said that's possible. Yeah, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Today, MS-13 gangbanger and human trafficker Kilmar Abrego Garcia turned himself into ICE in Baltimore. Do you have any comment on this? And why are the Democrats so emotionally attached to this man who beats his wife and is part of a terrorist organization?
Because they think he's going to be good for votes, and I think he's very bad for votes. These people are deranged. He's not good for votes. He beat the hell out of his wife. His wife is afraid to even talk about him. She's been mauled by this animal. And, you know, through a system of liberal courts, you know, he's doing things. But, no, we have that under control. And Pam has got that very much under control. Do you want to comment on it?
No, we've got him under control. He will no longer terrorize our country. He's currently charged with human smuggling, including children. The guy needs to be in prison. He doesn't need to be on the streets like all these liberals want him to be. And as part of this operation here in D.C., we've also taken off MS-13 members. We've taken, I think just last night, we got a TDA guy off our streets right here, right around from where we all work. Another TDA member gone because of this project. So we're going to keep America safe from all of these foreign terrorist organizations, including Abrego Garcia.
Okay?
Mr.
Steve?
President,
If we could get your reaction, sir. The Israelis bombed a hospital in Gaza, killed 20 people, including 5 journalists.
When did this happen?
This happened overnight, today.
I didn't know that.
Any reaction to this?
Well, I'm not happy about it. I don't want to see it. At the same time, we have to end that whole nightmare. I'm the one that got the hostages out. I got them out. All of them. Steve Witkoff has been amazing. He's done a great job. But I'm the one that got them all out through my people and through me. And now we're left with probably a little bit less than 20 because I think 1 or 2 are gone. And I said a long time ago, I'm going to get them out. But when we get down to that final 10 or 20, these people aren't going to release them because they're dead after they release them. So it's a nasty situation. Very nasty, horrible thing.
Mr.
Yes.
President, could you please elaborate on your post on South Korea? What were you referring to?
Well, I heard that there were raids on churches over the last few days, very vicious raids on churches by the new government in South Korea, that they even went into our military base and got information. They probably shouldn't have done that, but I heard bad things. I don't know if it's true or not. I'll be finding out. As you know, your new president's coming in just a couple of hours coming here. I look forward to meeting him. But we won't stand for that. We just won't stand for that.
So
Yes.
are you prepared to order National Guard troops, though, into American cities if those governors don't request the federal deployment?
I am, but I also think that, look, Chicago, everybody knows how bad it is. Everybody standing there knows. We know. You don't have to be doing any studies. They should be saying, please come in. Pritzker should be saying that. You know, I did a favor for Christy Whitmer, a good favor, I think, with the fish, the carp, the China carp. Did you ever hear of it? China carp. And it's taken over your Great Lakes. You know about that, right? And she came and she wanted to know if it's possible for us to do something about it. And I said, well, I'll do. But I think it's appropriate that the person from Illinois, the governor from Illinois, asks also. It's a tremendously expensive project, actually. It's invasive. It's horrible what's happened. And we can do it with GSA and various people. But we can do it. We're going to just have to see what happens, okay? We're going to have to see what happens. But
Do you believe that you have the legal
but
authority?
the governor of Michigan came, was very respectful, asked for it. She's done a good job. I did that. I opened the Air Force Base, kept it open for F-35s and various planes, F-22s too. I did that for the state of Michigan at her request. And I will, and also at our congressmen. We have congressmen that are unbelievably pro-Michigan up there. But some of this stuff, like the lakes, the Great Lakes, this is a big problem that nobody ever talks about. Most of you probably have never heard of. We have a pretty violent fish that comes from China, China carp, Chinese carp. And you see them jumping out. They jump into boats and they jump all over the place. They've got a lot of energy. And there's a way of getting rid of them. It's very expensive. And I didn't get a request from the governor of Illinois, who is affected maybe more than anybody else, right? And I think until I get that request from that guy, I'm not going to do anything about it. And I feel the same way about crime. We go in, we will solve Chicago within 1 week, maybe less, but within 1 week we will have no crime in Chicago, just like we have no crime in D.C. But, I don't like to go in and do it and then have somebody stand up and say what a great job he's doing on crime. And we don't want the military in our state. We don't want the military. Do you understand? Do you understand that?
Yeah, these governors will say.
So I don't know. So
there is no
we're going to have a little
emergency
meeting.
response.
I think, I feel like we go in and we do it, like here. To a lesser extent with the mayor. She hasn't been terrible, but she hasn't been, exactly saying, oh, great. She did say last night, I heard her say that, well, we really don't want the military in D.C. Well, that's, not very nice, I guess. That's a little bit of a hit. But she's not as bad as some. We saved Los Angeles, and all we did is get criticized by this idiot that's running the state into the ground, right, when people are leaving. He should be thanking us, and he should be requesting us to be there. And the governor of Illinois should be. Chicago is a disaster. And the governor of Illinois should say, President, would you do us the honor of cleaning up our city? We need help. They need help. They need help.
So are you
But
waiting
without
for
that
the-
request,
We may wait. We may or may not. We may just go in and do it, which is probably what we should do. The problem is, it's not nice when you go in and do it and somebody else is standing there saying, as we give great results, say, we don't want the military. They need help badly. Chicago desperately needs help. Just look at the crime statistics. Look at the statistics that JD said about, even I didn't know it was that bad. That's terrible. But all I know is we're being celebrated because we went an entire week. Now it's 11 days. We went an entire week without a murder. And I said, boy, that sounds terrible. I didn't know how to, I actually made a speech. I didn't know how to say it because it's a great number. It's a great thing. But it sounds so bad. I mean, supposing you're from a foreign country which is properly run and they don't have murders and things, right, so much, or in some cases virtually at all. And you have somebody saying, I'm proud to announce that nobody was murdered in the capital of the United States this week. It sounds terrible.
Well,
but
what about
Mr.
New
President,
York? What about
Gavin
New York?
Newsom, you've mentioned Gavin Newsom on crime.
Gavin Newsom, yes.
Is there a federal mechanism you're hoping to use to fight back against his redistricting constitutional amendment, or is that
Well, I think I'm going to be filing a lawsuit pretty soon, and I think we're going to be very successful in it. We're going to be filing it through the Department of Justice. That's going to happen. And we're also going to be filing a lawsuit on blue slipping. You know, blue slips make it impossible for me as president to appoint a judge or a U.S. attorney because they have a gentleman's agreement. It's nothing memorialized. It's a gentleman's agreement that's about 100 years old, where if you have a president like a Republican and if you have a Democrat senator, that senator can stop you from appointing a judge or a U.S. attorney. In particular, those are the two, I guess anything, but those are the two that are very important. So we have numerous states where we have unbelievable people. Now, Jay Clayton was just approved in the Southern District, but he was so good. He was a top student, top schools, top everything, went to Sullivan and Cromwell, became the head of Sullivan and Cromwell, came down here, was Securities and Exchange Commission, ran it for 4 years during my term, like impeccably, beautiful job. He did an incredible job. And we went to court, and the judges, Democrat judges, voted that he could. That's the only way you get by it. But generally speaking, you can't do that because you'll have judges from the other party. So Jay Clayton just got approved, and he's in, but he didn't get approved by the senators. He got approved by the court system in New York, which was a great thing. And I had a big victory in New York, I might add. I saved myself $500 million with a fake, corrupt attorney general, a really corrupt person with a corrupt judge who was disgraceful, and they're being mauled right now by everybody. It's so corrupt, and it kept business out of New York. Stuff like that. But the appellate division vacated all of that stuff that you read about, and we're going to do a big number on that whole thing. You can't have a corrupt court system. You can't have that. You have to have borders, and you have to have a free press. Otherwise, you don't have a country. But you'll be hearing about the blue slipping, because if you have not, you don't need two senators. You just need one Democrat senator with a Republican. The only person that I can get approved are Democrats or maybe weak Republicans, but we don't want that. But the only person I will be able to get approved in any of those states where you have a Democrat I can't get a U.S. attorney. I can only get a Democrat U.S. attorney. And this is based on an old custom. It's not based on law, and I think it's unconstitutional, and I'll probably be filing a suit on that pretty soon. Yeah, please.
During the campaign, you called Kamala Harris a communist, but the Biden-Harris administration, they never called for nationalizing a private company with the federal government like you're proposing with Intel. What do you say to some who say this is a bit hypocritical? And is this the new way of doing industrial policy?
Yeah, sure it is. I want to try and get as much as I can. If people come in and they need something, as an example, as a real estate person, if I have an agreement and I have any form of a stopgap where I can stop somebody from doing something, right? I have a covenant in an agreement, and they come to me and they say, "Would like you to would like to do something, but you have us restricted. If I do that, they usually have to pay. Now, in the case of Intel, it was interesting, but I hope I'm going to have many more cases like it. Intel came in. I met with the gentleman. I had a lot of respect for him. He came in under a little bit of a cloud. I liked his story. I thought he was good. I think he really means to do a good job with Intel. I said, I'd like to ask whether or not you'd give because the story, a lot of people said I invested in Intel. I didn't invest, but I invest my heart in it and my soul because I want the country to be strong. But I said, I'd like you to give 10% of Intel to the United States of America. Not to me, to the United States of America. And I said, if you have them as a partner, you have the United States as a partner, I think that would be a very good thing for Intel. And he thought about it, a little bit different, and he said, I like that idea very much. We have a deal. And I just made $10 billion or $11 billion for the United States of America. And yeah, there will be other cases. If I have that opportunity again, I would do that. And then, you do have stupid people say, oh, that's a shame. It's not a shame. It's called business. If somebody's willing to give you 10% of a company and you're not paying for it, and I will tell you, with a company like Intel, as you know, it's had difficulty. I want them to do well. I want them to do well anyway, but I want them to do well in particular then.
But isn't public ownership of a private company a new way of doing business in the business of the United States? Isn't that what you were sort of projecting?
So are tariffs. So, as you know, the stock market went up almost 1,000 points on Friday. And it went up not because of this very, I think, terrible, hello? Who is that back there? All right, get out of the room. It went up because of something much different. It went up because it was announced, CBO announced the numbers, and as you know, they gave no credit to tariffs. They said they made a mistake, that the trade deficit will be reduced because of Trump's tariffs, will be reduced by $4 trillion, right? Is that what they said, right? They said $4 trillion, and the market went up like a rocket ship because the tariffs are good. Well, tariffs aren't that usual. If the 7 wars I stopped, 4 of them were because of the fact that I had tariffs and trade. And I was able to say, well, if you do this, if you go fight and you want to kill everybody, that's okay, but I'm going to charge you each 100% tariff when you trade with us. You know what? They all gave up. I stopped 7 wars. Numerous of them was because of tariffs. So, you never knew the word tariff. It didn't exist really, essentially, in this country until actually in the 1870s up till 1913 it existed. And we were the richest country. We were richer then, proportionately, than at any time in the history of our country. And then, stupidly, in 1913, they said, let's go to the income tax way of life. Let the people pay instead of foreign countries. No. We're taking in trillions of dollars in tariffs, and we're stopping wars because of tariffs. So that's not so normal either. But you know what? Other countries did it to us, and now we're doing it to other countries.
You ruled out boots on the ground in Ukraine, but how would air support as part of a security guarantee be any different? Those U.S.
You really went from one question to the next. You go from one. I expected he'd at least challenge you. Now we're talking about boots on the ground.
But U.S. air assets over the skies of Ukraine as part of a security guarantee, wouldn't those U.S. airmen also be
Well, you
endangered?
don't know what security guarantee is because we haven't even discussed the specifics of it. And we'll see. Number one, Europe is going to give them significant security guarantees, and they should because they're right there. But we'll be involved from the standpoint of backup. We're going to help them. And I think if we get a deal, and I think we will, but if we get a deal, you're not going to. I don't believe you're going to have much of a problem. But we'll back it up because I want to stop seeing people being killed. When Biden was here, he gave $350 billion. You know this from covering business. $350 billion to Ukraine. I said that Zelensky's the greatest salesman I think I've ever met, better than P.T. Barnum, because he'd come to the country, he'd walk out with $50 billion every time. He actually came here once, he walked out with $100 billion. We're up to $350 billion. I got $1 trillion worth of rare earth that we have from the country because I felt badly for our taxpayer. But I did something else at the NATO meeting. They are wealthy countries, but they weren't paying. And we don't pay any money to Ukraine anymore. Do you know that? In fact, it's the opposite. They request through NATO, we deal with NATO. We don't deal really with Ukraine. NATO requests missiles. They want Patriots. They want missiles. We give the missiles to NATO. NATO pays us in full and does what they want. I mean, I think they give them mostly to, they can do other things with them too, because we're dealing with NATO. We pay no money to Ukraine. We gave $350 billion to Ukraine. You know, if we didn't give that kind of money, and I was the one that gave the javelins, if you remember. I gave the javelins. They were very effective. They say Obama gave sheets and Trump gave javelins. They were very effective with those tanks right at the beginning. But you would have never had a war if I were president. You would have never had a war. Just to finish, we spend no money on Ukraine anymore. We were getting fleeced by a president that didn't know what he was doing. To be honest, I don't blame Ukraine. I mean, if they come and ask for $100 billion, then they get it. But we were in for $350 billion. Now, we make money. I don't want to make money on Ukraine. I want the war to end because I want to save all those lives. I want to just save. But just so you understand, we're no longer losing money on that thing. We were losing money hand over fist. And now we don't lose any money. Now we sell weapons to NATO. Because NATO agreed, because of me, to go to 5%, they had 2% and didn't pay. Now they have 5% and they're all paid up. So they have trillions of dollars and they give us that money. But I really want the war to end, and we're going to get it ended.
Mr. President, at the historic summit here with Ukrainian President Zelensky and European leaders all met here with you at the White House. You said you wanted to get this done bilateral as soon as possible. Have you spoken to Putin since last Monday? Since
Yeah,
a week ago?
I have.
What is your conversation? Or can you share?
Every conversation I have with him is a good conversation, and then unfortunately a bomb is loaded up into Kiev or someplace, and then I get very angry about it. I think we're going to get the war done. It's tough. I thought that would be, of the 7 that I settled, I thought that would be the easiest of the group. See, you never know what's going to happen. You know, war, strange things happen in war. The fact that he went to Alaska, our country, I think was a big statement that he wants to get it done. That was not easy for him to go to Alaska, you know, for him to come here. But the fact that he showed up on a very successful day, it was a very successful day for other things. Because, you know, we're also talking about missiles, nuclear. We're talking about a lot of different things. We're talking about limiting nuclear weapons. We'll get China into that. We have the most. Russia has the second most, and China has third, but China is way behind, but they'll catch us in 5 years. We would like to denuclearize. It's too much power, and we talked about that also. That's part of it, but we have to get the war over with.
On Baltimore, sir. Thank you. On Baltimore, you said that you are going to have to reconsider bridge funding. Is that contingent on Westmore cleaning up the streets?
No, we were very generous to him on a bridge. You know, a boat ran into a bridge and the bridge came down like I've never seen anything. The boat was just, it just shows you the mass of that boat, the power of that boat. You know, people were up on that bridge, painters. They were painting the bridge and they were watching it happen. And they thought they were very safe. They all died. They were painting the bridge, can you imagine? And they watched the boat. The engines were off. And they watched the boat. And the power of that boat, the mass of that boat, went right through that steel just like it was nothing. It's amazing. It's called mass. Mass is a big deal. But the mass of that boat, those people all died. But they thought they were totally safe. Two of them, they were eating their lunch. They were, you know, whatever. They were watching it. They could have gotten off. Somebody did a very good job. A police officer called in and said, close the bridge. And he did it with power. Get everybody off the bridge, close that. That guy should get a medal because he stopped the bridge. A lot of people would have died. A lot more people would have died. The ones that died were the workers on the bridge. And they thought there was no danger because, you know, it's a big steel bridge. And it came down like toothpicks. It was incredible to watch that. It was just, and they died. They all died. But that police officer, again, the police do a great job. The police officer did an amazing job. And I heard the tapes. he would say, get everybody off. Most people wouldn't have said that. You know, when you see a thing like that, you assume it's going to, you know, tap the bridge and it's going to be rebuffed. The thing just came down. I've never seen anything like it. So he did a good job. In fact, I think we should get him in for a medal. The man that gave the warning, I listened to him. Everybody get off, screaming. Everybody off. He had the sense to realize that this could be a catastrophe as opposed to a ship that, because the engines weren't working, it was just floating. It's an amazing thing that a thing floating like that with no power just knocked it right down like it was nothing.
So
Let's do that. Let's give him a medal. I've been thinking about that.
Mr. President, do you plan to investigate Chris Christie?
Saying what?
Do you plan to investigate Chris Christie?
Look, Chris is a slob. Everybody knows it. I know Chris better than anybody in the room. I always felt he was guilty. But what he did is he took the George Washington Bridge, which is very serious. He closed down the George Washington Bridge. And you had medical people, you had ambulances caught up. This thing was closed down. And obviously he knew about it. But he blamed the young lady that worked for him and another person, and they got into a lot of trouble. She ultimately was, I don't know, exonerated, but she got out of it a little bit. But she went through hell. She was a young mother, nice person. I knew her a little bit. And another man went to jail, and Chris got off. And so when I listen to Chris speak his hate, I say, oh, what about the George Washington Bridge? You know, tell me about the George Washington Bridge. He blamed other people, but he knew all about it. So no, I don't know if they want to look at it. It's not for me. If they want to look at it, they can. You could ask Pam. I think we have other things to do, but I always thought he got away with murder.
Mr. President, do you plan to make an endorsement in the Texas Senate race between Ken Paxton and John Cornyn?
Well, I'll make up my mind. I like them both. The worst situation I have is when I have two people that I get along with well. I hate it. And they all want the endorsement. You know, I'm almost 100% of the people I endorse win. It's a great honor. And I got, as you know, I got the largest vote in the history of Texas by far. Nobody's ever gotten more votes in the last election. I think in all the elections, the 3 elections. But they like me in Texas. So people are waiting for me, but I'd rather not comment on it right now. I like both guys. They're both friends of mine. And they're both good and very different.
There's some talk among congressional Republicans about another reconciliation bill. Where do you fall on that, and what would you like to prioritize?
Well, I don't want to do cutting. I want to save all the different things. I'm going to cut things that are unnecessary, but the one thing I said, and I gave my word, we're not going to hurt anybody on Medicaid, Medicare, or Social Security. And in fact, we're doing great on Social Security. We found 300,000 illegals on Social Security. We got them out. And, you know, things like that make Social Security very, very strong. So, no, I am very big into certain things, and one of those 3, you could say 3 of those things are Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security. We're going to protect it. And so we'll see how everything works out. If we're talking about rescissions on other things, I'm always open to cost cutting. If we can cost cut, I like it, but nothing's going to happen to medical. We have something coming up, favored nations, where I'm going to be reducing drug prices by 1,500% where a pill that sells in Germany for $10 costs $150 here because of the bad price. And I was all set to do it, and then we had the COVID come up, and I had to focus on that because we had the greatest economy in history my first term. I will tell you that we are going to be doing numbers on the cost of drugs in this country that I'm not talking about a 20% decrease, which would be great. I'm talking about 1,000% decrease. We're talking about where a product would sell for $80 in Germany and $1,300 here. And we're not going to do that. We were subsidizing the entire world, and we're not doing it anymore. I informed the drug companies. I informed the world. And if the world wants to, if countries in the world don't want to go along, then I'm going to put tariffs on those countries, and we'll make more money. But they have to go along with it. So this is moving along rapidly. Dr. Oz is in charge, Bobby's group, and they're doing very well. And we're getting great cooperation from the drug, because the drug companies know it's unfair. You know, for years they'd say, well, we had to do research, and we had to do. I said, I don't care. You had to do research for these other countries also. They are ready to go, and I'm ready to go. And you know, if I pull that off, there's no way a Republican will lose an election. There's no way. All right, one more question. Steve, what's this guy? He's the nicest guy I know, and he asks the most vicious questions.
Why do you think President Putin is so reluctant to meet with President Zelensky?
Because he doesn't like him. He doesn't like him. You know, they don't like. I have people I don't like. I don't like to meet with them. Sometimes I do like to meet with people I don't like.
So how do you get them together?
They don't like. No, they don't like each other really. And if we had a real president instead of a guy that got in there with a fraudulent election, if we had a real president, that war would have never happened. Putin actually said, he said, if Trump were president, it wouldn't have happened. Happened for a lot of reasons. Happened because of Afghanistan. When he saw how incompetent Milley was and all these guys were, I think he said, wow, this might be, because it was the apple of his eye. It would have never happened if I were president.
Mr. President, you have built relationship with Russian leaders and also North Korean leaders. As they are getting closer, how would that affect your diplomatic approach?
Well, I have very good relationships with Kim Jong-un, North Korea. I mean, a lot of people would say, oh, that's terrible. No, it's good. In fact, someday I'll see him. I look forward to seeing him. He was very good with me. We had 2 meetings. We had 2 summits. We got along great. I know him better than you do. I know him better than anybody, almost, other than his sister. His sister knows him pretty well. No, I know him well, and I got along with him. You know, I'm not supposed to say I really like him a lot, because if I do that, I get killed in the fake news media. But I got along with him very well, and we had no problem. If at the time Hillary Clinton won the election, you would have had a nuclear war. You would have had a nuclear war. We're not going to have a nuclear war. Once that happens, it's over. We're not going to have a nuclear war. No, but Kim Jong-un will meet at some point. I look forward to it, actually. But do you notice that since I came into office, you haven't had a problem with him? It hasn't been, you know, he tests lots of rockets. He does have great capability, I will say that. But I think a lot of good things are happening for our country, a lot of really good things. And the thing we're here today to talk about is crime, and specifically in D.C. I am so proud of what these people, every one of them, what they've done in D.C., because to literally stop crime on a button. I'd walk down that street right now. If I were, friends of mine are going out to dinner now. They haven't gone out to dinner in 4 years. They were petrified. Half the restaurants closed because nobody could go because they're afraid to go outside. Now those restaurants are open, and new restaurants are opening up. It's like a boom town. It's a great thing to see, and I'm very proud of the people behind me. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, President. Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States.
Well, thank you very much. Please. It's an honor to be with you. We're making a lot of progress in our country, generally too. But this is a very special time because we've worked very hard to put ourselves in this position. Today we strike a righteous blow to the drug dealers, narcotic traffickers, and criminal cartels that we've all been hearing so much about for so many years, and very little has been done. And we take a historic step toward justice for every family touched by the fentanyl scourge as we sign the Halt Fentanyl Act into law. Good job. Good job. Well done. Well done. Thank you very much. With this bill, we are officially and permanently classifying all fentanyl-related substances as Schedule I narcotics, which is actually a very big deal. It doesn't sound like much. It's a big deal, as they will tell you, meaning anyone caught trafficking these illicit poisons will be punished with a mandatory 10-year minimum sentence in prison. We'll be getting the drug dealers, pushers, and peddlers off our street, and we will not rest until we have ended the drug overdose epidemic. And it's been getting a little bit better, but it's horrible. It's horrible. We're going to end it once and for all. And we're pleased to be joined on this occasion by my future DEA administrator. You're going to be a very important position, Terry Cole. Where's Terry Cole? Hello, Terry Cole. I hope you're as good as they say, Terry. I hope you're as good as Glenn Youngkin says, because it was his recommendation that got you this job. You better do a good job, or I'm blaming Glenn. Glenn, I'm going to blame you if he's no good. And who the hell knows, but I have a feeling he's going to be great. Is he that good? All right, good. You better be good. But it was really, Glenn has had tremendous experience with Terry, and he said he's fantastic. He did the job like nobody that you've seen, and we take your word for it. Thank you very much, Glenn. Also with us is Secretary Kristi Noem, who's doing a fantastic job. Where's Kristi? Where are you? Kristi. Hi, Kristi. She is doing a great job with Tom Homan, who's fantastic. He's also central casting. He does serve the central casting role, too, doesn't he? And he's a great guy. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff. Steve, thank you very much. Thank you. Good job. And we have some good news on Gaza and good news on a couple of things that we're working on at a very high level. But you've done a fantastic job. Thank you very much. My nominee to lead the Office of National Drug Control Policy, Sarah Carter. Sarah, great reporter, too. She was a very tough and good reporter, and you've done a fantastic job. So now you'll be able to put all that experience to work. No more criticizing or anything else. You got to do it yourself, and you're going to do a great job, you know, as reporters do on occasion. Thank you very much. Thanks, Sarah. Good luck. Governors Glenn Youngkin, Jeff Landry, and Kelly Armstrong, where are you? Stand up. Great. Hi, fellas. Hi. How are you? And great friends of ours, Senators Chuck Grassley. Chuck, fantastic. You look fantastic. Looks like he's 44 years old. You look great, Chuck. We're proud of you. Jim Banks. Jim. Thank you, Jim. Good job. Good job. Ron Johnson. Ron, good. We've got that bill passed, Ron. We got it passed. Thank you for all your help, too. Ashley Moody. Ashley, thank you very much. Jim Risch. Thank you, Jim. And you're doing a great job on the committees, and you're getting them through, the people that we need, right? I appreciate it, Jim, very much. I urge him, like, Jim, you got to get going. No, Jim's been fantastic. Bill Cassidy. Thank you, Bill, very much. Thank you very much. And Roger Marshall. Roger, thank you. And by the way, I have to say, John Thune called. He said, can you get my senators back? We're taking a vote, so we're going to go as quickly as you can. And if you feel like the urge, just get out. And we got to get all these bills signed, a lot of them related to what we're doing. So don't have the urge to stay. I won't be insulted if you walk out. But he just called. He said, could you get them back as soon as possible? Representatives Morgan Griffin, Brett Guthrie, Andy Biggs, Andy Barr, Buddy Carter, Addison McDowell, Troy Balderson. Hi, Troy. Randy Feenstra. Thank you, Randy. Scott Franklin, Tony Gonzalez, John Joyce, Dan Muser, Mike Carey, Scott Fitzgerald, Diana Harshbarger, Bob Latta. That's a good group of people. Hal Rogers, Mike Rowley, and Nick Langworthy. Thank you. We've got a lot of great people. That's a lot of political talent we have. A lot of political talent. Thank you very much. Thanks as well to State Attorneys General Brenna Bird. Thank you, Brenna, wherever you may be, because you know, Brenna, she was the first one in that state to endorse Trump. Thank you very much. I don't forget those things, even though this is non-political today, okay? Alan Wilson, Chris Carr, and Marty Jackley. Thank you all very much. Thank you. So 6 months ago, we came into office and inherited the worst drug crisis in American history by far. They did nothing. For 4 long years, Joe Biden surrendered our borders to the most evil and vicious traffickers, networks, and everything else on the planet Earth, allowing foreign drug cartels to carve out a massive footprint on American soil. We were doing nothing. This open borders nightmare flooded our country with fentanyl and with people that shouldn't be here, some of the worst people on earth. And illicit drugs decimated American communities and left us with the largest law enforcement challenge in our country's history, and hopefully will always be the largest. I can't imagine anything being worse. They allowed millions and millions of criminals into our country, 11,888 murders, 50% of whom murdered more than one person. On day one of the Trump administration, we declared an all-out war on the dealers, smugglers, traffickers, and cartels. Within moments of taking office, I deployed the U.S. military to our border and unleashed the patriots of ICE and Border Patrol to defend our country from an invasion. This was an invasion. This wasn't people coming in. This was an invasion of our country, allowed to happen by people either that didn't care or were just stupid people. Stupid people. I also designated the Mexican drug cartels as foreign terrorist organizations. And within a few short weeks, believe it or not, if you remember, now we've even surpassed that, but we achieved the most secure border in U.S. history. And last month, we had the lowest number of illegal border crossings ever recorded. We had in June, the number was actually 0. Now, even I don't believe that, but we're going to take it. How can you go from hundreds of thousands to 0? But that's what they say. And these are very liberal people that do the recording, so I think we're going to have to take it. But the number was 0 in June. Can't get much better than that, right? On day one, I signed executive orders to create new Homeland Security task forces, marshaling the full power of federal law enforcement to eradicate transnational criminal networks and traffickers from our soil. We wanted them out. 2 weeks ago, we secured the resources necessary to achieve that mission when I signed the One Big Beautiful bill into law. And I want to thank you all. I want to thank you. I want to thank you all. You did a great job. And you could go point after point how good it is. You know, they have just a hit against that. It's one of the biggest tax cuts in history, really the biggest everything in history. We have things in terms of security, in terms of securing our country, taking care of our police officers, law enforcement, our ICE and Border Patrol patriots. I call them patriots because that's what they are. These are strong people, tough people that love our country. If they weren't tough, they wouldn't survive. But we do more for the country in that bill, I think, than just about any bill that's been passed. And we're going to have to start speaking about it because the Democrats use it. They say it represents death. How effective is that, right? That's pretty good. It represents that. That's all they have. They only have lies. It's the only thing they have. They don't have policy. They can't get people elected. They don't have good candidates. They don't have anything, but they do have two things. They stick together. They stick together like glue. And they always come up with a good little tagline. This tagline is death. And the death is them. We're the ones that are giving life. We're giving life with that bill. And there's so many good things, whether it's no tax on tips. Think of that. No tax on Social Security. No tax on overtime. If you buy a car, you want to buy a car, you get a deduction of interest on your mortgage. So think of that. Things that were never even a possibility. And then so much else in terms of health, in terms of providing care. It's really just a fantastic bill, and it's about time that we're going to start, and we'll start talking about it. But once we do, I think we're going to have the greatest midterm that you've ever seen, because this thing really is amazing. And I want to thank all of the senators in particular for getting it done, It also makes the largest investment in the U.S. Coast Guard since World War II, ensuring that we have assets and all of the assets needed to vanquish the cartels from the waterways of North America. We're building a lot of Coast Guard ships that go very speedily along the water, and they're very lethal. They're very powerful, and that's what we need, because a lot of it comes in as we block up the border. They start using the water. That's a good run. I could use that. They block up the border. We start using the water. And that's what happens. They start using the water. Who would think? They even actually developed small submarines. You saw that, right? Small submarines to get the drugs in. And it's incredible. But we've stopped them. I've also directed the Department of Justice to seek maximum sentences for fentanyl traffickers. We're going to absolutely do the maximum. Since my inauguration, the DOJ has seized over 4,500 pounds of fentanyl, which is a record, including with the enormous Sinaloa cartel bust in May, one of the toughest cartels out there, the largest fentanyl bust ever in United States history. And now with the signing of the Halt Fentanyl Act, in just a few moments, we are delivering another defeat for the savage drug smugglers and criminals and the cartels who have a tremendous amount to say about Mexico. If you want to be nice about it, I'm trying to be nice about it. They have very strong controls over Mexico, and we have to do something about that. Can't let that happen. The Mexican authorities are petrified. They're petrified to show up at their office. They're petrified to go to work because the cartels have a tremendous grip on Mexico and the politicians and the people that get elected. For years, the monsters who manufacture illicit fentanyl have sought to skirt legal restrictions by making minor variations of the chemical compound, and in the process, they've developed even more toxic versions of the drug. One common variant, known as carfentanil, it's becoming more and more common. It's 100 times more potent than the original version of fentanyl. Can you imagine? Look at what you have to suffer with the original. I mean, this is 100 times more potent, and it's happening stronger, more and more dangerous. And as you know, and I have a very good relationship with President Xi of China, but I imposed a 20% tariff on China because of the fentanyl, and I call it a penalty. It's a penalty because China delivers much of the fentanyl. Some people would say all of it. They deliver it into Mexico and even into our own country. We have a 20%, so they pay billions of dollars in damages for what they've done. And I think we're going to work it out so that China is going to end up going from that to giving the death penalty to the people that create this fentanyl and send it into our country, whether it's through other countries or directly. I believe that we would have had that deal a long time ago. I shook hands with them, and Then we had a rigged election, and we had somebody else come in, and they didn't know anything about a deal for the death penalty. The death penalty is going to be imposed on people from China that make fentanyl and send it into our country. I believe that's going to happen soon. But as of today, all fentanyl-related substances will be banned forever, and those who traffic in these deadly poisons will be put behind bars for a very long period of time. We're joined today by just a few of the millions of families ravaged by this scourge, including Greg Swan from Michigan, who carries with him the heartbreaking loss of his beautiful son, Drew. Drew became addicted to opioids after being prescribed painkillers following a sports injury, got injured, and this is happening so much, got injured in sports and ends up, you leave the hospital a week later and you're addicted. But he fought through it and got himself clean. Then one day, Drew took a pill laced with fentanyl. He took it just casually, thought it would be okay. Took a chance, and he thought it'd be okay, and it didn't work out. And he tragically lost his life. And Greg, I'd like you to come forward, and if you could just say a few words about your wonderful, wonderful son, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Honor of my life.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. President. I will be brief. It's the honor of my life to be here, and Drew was the happiest day of my life was when he was born, and he always called me his hero to the day he died. And his passing ruined, I thought, my life, and every parent back here that I meet and in the audience, some of my friends, their life is gutted when they lose a kid. There's despair and there's hopelessness. But we've been able to find some repose in going out and advocating, and we want to hit every school in America. There's 26,727 of them. We want to go into every one. The kids are silent when they hear we lost somebody to this, and we tell our story, and they leave unequivocally ready to run away from fentanyl. I would just like to say thank you, Mr. President, for stopping the border crossings. Full stop, mic drop. I'll step back but it was amazing what you did. We were being gaslit, and you came and lit a fire to that story, and we're a lot safer for it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you.
That's tough stuff. We're also grateful to be joined by California native Ann Fundner, who lost her beautiful eldest son, Weston, to fentanyl when he was just 15 years old, exactly 1 year ago today. Ann delivered a moving tribute to Weston at the Republican National Convention. People that saw it have not forgotten it. And Ann, I'd like you to please come up and say a few words about your wonderful boy. Thank you. Please. Thank you, darling.
Thank you so much. It's always good to see you. It's an honor. Good afternoon, Mr. President and distinguished guests. My name is Ann Fundner.
Oh, come here. I'm going to hold that.
Thank you.
Okay.
And I'm an angel parent. 1 year ago today, on July 16th, I stood in front of America and told the story of my son, Weston, at the RNC, and about how he was a beautiful, loving, had a wonderful life. We did everything right. But one pill, one mistake, given by a friend under peer pressure, took his life. In the last 4 years, fentanyl became the #1 killer of Americans, ages 15 to 48. And children under 14 are the fastest growing demographic. President Trump, for 4 years, we felt ignored. But you've changed that, and we appreciate that so much. You've closed the borders, sanctioned cartels, imposed tariffs, closed shipping loopholes. Most people don't know about that. That was a big one. Dealt with countries where it's coming from. You mobilized Treasury, Justice Department, Homeland Security, lawmakers, legislators, and today the signing of the Halt Fentanyl Act, bipartisan and overwhelmingly supported by everybody, making fentanyl a Schedule I drug to strengthen the criminalization and prosecution of people who peddle this. It is a lifeline for families across America and keeping our families safe. And that's all you always want, to keep America safe. And thank you so much. Thank you for keeping America safe and for our children. And this is what we voted for. Mr. President, God bless you. God bless our angel families who are all here with us today, and all of you sitting up here with us. And God bless America. Thank you so much. You can have that. Would you like that? I would love to give that to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's just crazy that we have to even be doing this. It's so sad. It should be so unnecessary that we stand here for years and years doing the same thing over and over. It's terrible. A friend of mine, a longtime friend of mine, is Jackie Siegel, and her beautiful children, her husband David just passed away. David Siegel was a great developer, great developer, great guy, a friend of mine. But her children, Jordan, Jacqueline, and Drew, come from Florida. Jackie lost her beautiful daughter, Victoria, to drugs when Victoria was just 18 years old, a beautiful person. And this April, Jackie lost her sister, Jessica, to fentanyl. In her daughter's honor, Jackie founded Victoria's Voice. And I'd like to ask Jackie to come up and say a few words about her daughter, her husband, her family. She's comes from a great family, and they've been fighting this scourge for a long time. Thank you very much, Jackie.
Mr. President, it's an honor to be here today on behalf of our family, my late husband, and all of the other affected families for this important signing on this bipartisan issue. 10 years ago, when our daughter, 18 years old, Victoria, she was 18, she passed away of a drug overdose. We formed the Victoria's Voice Foundation, and the Trump administration was very helpful in passing the CARA Act, which saved many lives back then, bringing out the Narcan. And we're so honored. Well, actually, when my husband passed away, thank you for the phone call and your love and support. Our family loves you, Mr. President. That day, when my sister found out of my husband's passing, she did a line of cocaine that she thought was cocaine, and it was fentanyl. So I lost both of them in the same day. And it's been a very rough time. But it's turned me into more of a fighter to carry on my husband's legacy and the other families' legacies of saving lives. And so I'm turning my pain into passion. And also, on top of this, with the signing of this important the act that you're doing, we are joining with Victoria's Voice is joining with founding fathers, and we're going to start the Angel Army. So we're even growing even more under this Trump administration. Okay. And we're going to spend the rest of our lives doing this. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Jackie.
Thank you.
Very effective. It's an honor. That army will be very effective. South Korea, knowing Jackie. So thank you very much, Jackie. Gotten along very well. Everyone knows someone touched by the incredible crisis that we've all been watching all over the world. They're watching it. Other countries have the problem. But I don't think there are too many that have it more seriously than us. They come here and they rip us. They rip us so badly, the cartels and all of the others, because we're sort of a rich country, and that's where the money is. So it happens. People say, why is it so much? Because we have money. We're richer than other countries, so they come here more. They take the money like taking candy from a baby. So today, on behalf of all Americans who have lost a loved one to opioids, we renew our vow to liberate America from this horrible plague, and I hope you're going to do a fantastic job. You have no idea how important you are. You have like maybe the most important job just about in government. There's nothing more important than what you're doing, so I wish you a lot of luck, and we'll be there to help you all the way along, okay? Once again, I want to thank Congress for passing this important bill and for all the work you've done over the last 2 weeks, all of you. What a job you've all done. It was the congressmen and women and the Senate has been unbelievable. And I'd like to ask, if you want, stand right up here while I sign the bill, and then we're going to get you right back so you can keep passing other bills and make America great again, right? Okay, thank you very much. It's great to have you. Military equipment in the world, and you saw that recently with take a look at what we did with the B-2 bomber, which you have one right there. They gave that to me against the company. Okay, we all set. The B-2 bomber was so successful. Very, very protected in here. Yeah. Very protected. We made 36 hours and it wiped out nobody's ever seen anything like it. 36 hours back and forth. And this is not an auto pen, right? That's for sure. That's great. Thank you very much. Not even a little bit of a problem. And we actually have 52 tankers in many planes. And we looked at the B-2, the way they every single bomb hits. So we understand that we make the best military equipment in the world. And South Korea is a big buyer of military equipment. And we're going to talk about that also. We have many things to talk about, and I look forward to it. And it's a great honor to be with you, and congratulations on your election. We'll give some to the back, too. And we'll be 100%. Thank you. Okay, we'll just pass it around. Thank you. Thank you very much, everybody. This is really an honor. Very important. One of the more important things that we'll ever sign, I suspect. And thank you all for the great job. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you all. Thank you very much, everybody.
한국은 상당한 많은 그런 무역량을 미국과 함께 하고 있습니다. 그 외에 또 선박 계약, 특히 한국은 조선업이 상당히 성공적으로 유지가 되고 있습니다. 그래서 조선소라든지 선박 건조에 대해서 우리는 많은 얘기를 나눌 것입니다.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States.
이제 미국은
Thank you very much. Thank you, Tom. Keep going. We worked hard. We worked hard. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yeah, we worked hard. It's a very important act, the Genius Act. They named it after me, and I want to thank you. I want to thank you. This is a hell of an act. You know, I did something very unusual. I said, this has been something, it's been, a lot of people thought it was impossible, some of the things that have been done. And of course, the great big, I added the word great, the great big beautiful bill, that was something that nobody thought possible. They thought it would be in anywhere from 7 to maybe 3, I'll go the opposite direction, but 3 to 7 different bills, and we said, let's just put it in one, because this way there's something for everyone, and there really is. There's a lot of things for everyone. And when we get the word out how great that is for every single person in this country, virtually, and all they have is a soundbite, death. You know what their soundbite is? Death. Aren't they nice? Death. They are the most incompetent people. They've lost their confidence. They've lost everything if you think about it. But Jasmine Crockett is on her way. She's on her way. She's the new star of the Democrat Party, Jasmine Crockett. They're in big trouble, but I have to tell you, that was great, and this was great, and I am so tired of making phone calls at 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, getting calls from our great speaker. Sir, we have 12 hard no's. I said, Mike, it's 2 o'clock in the morning.
The most symbolic thing of that is the Dow Jones
We have 12 hard no's. The good news is I call up, hello, Jim, how are you? Sir, you have my vote.
So I think that America
Sir, you
is
have my
becoming great
vote.
again.
I really they just want a little love. Unfortunately, it's always the same. It's always the same 12 people. That's it's 5 senators and it's 12.
I believe that there is a renaissance taking place, not only in the shipbuilding sector,
And I
but also
actually
in
said
the
to
manufacturing
John
industry,
Thune and I said to
hope that
Mike, I
Korea
said,
can
listen,
be a part of that
I
renaissance.
want to have a party, but not to those people that I have to speak to endlessly every time. And they're wonderful because they always seem to come through other than a couple. Rand Paul Jr. from the Congress and Rand Paul from, no, other than a few people.
And one thing
But
that
I
I would
said,
like, that I wanted to
I
say
want
to
to
you
have
is
them over. We're
that
going to have a party.
America's role not as
Everybody
a keeper
in
of
Congress,
peace,
everyone
but
in
a maker
Congress
of
except
peace
12.
is being more.
We're going to have, and Mike is Tom.
emerging
I'll tell you
more
what, Tom is
evidently.
definitely coming. The whole group. Where are those 12 people? They're the only people I don't see. We could do it today. We don't have to vote. And I would say, of the 53 senators, 48, we're going to have 48 in here.
Many
You won't even
wars
have to
in
come to
Europe,
that one.
in Asia, in
But these are the
Africa,
greatest
and in the
people
Middle
because they
East
always vote yes,
are,
and we don't
coming
have
to
to
peace because of the
go
role that
crazy.
you are
You
playing.
trust us, we trust you. And it's been a very special group of people. We really do. I mean, 96% phenomenal, and 4% extremely
Among the
difficult.
many
Do you agree
world
with that?
leaders, I believe that
But they
you are
get
the
there,
only
most of
leader
them, not
who
all
has
of them.
made
Those are the
such
ones who really
accomplishments.
don't like. But I want to thank you all for being here. This is really a big day. This afternoon, we take a giant step to cement American dominance of global finance and crypto technology as we sign the landmark Genius Act into law. So congratulations to everybody. This is a big deal. We've come a long way since the Biden administration, when they had no idea what you were all talking about. And half of you were under arrest for no reason whatsoever. True. For no reason. And we want to have it, not China. China wasn't actually happy. They were watching this. They like it. And we've got this. We've got AI. We've got a lot of great ones happening. And this is a very big thing. And I want to thank the bill's author, Senator Bill Hagerty, a very good friend of mine. Thank you, Bill. He's a great guy. He's a great guy. He's a very handsome guy. Looks great. He's got the whole package. But, you know, I got to know him. He was ambassador to Japan. And we had a little problem with Japan on trade. But he was my ambassador to Japan. And I went to Japan, and he's speaking fluently Japanese. I said, did you learn it as a child? No, I just learned it over the last 4 or 5 months. I said, you learned Japanese. Maybe the single hardest language to learn. It's actually breathing rather than, it's breathing. I'm not going to imitate it because we'll end up with a big story, and I don't want that. But he spoke totally fluent Japanese. I said, that's very impressive. And he was introducing me to Mr. Honda. I said, oh, are you in the car business? He goes, yes. I said, you're a very rich man. And then he said, Mr. Toyota, right? Toyota. I didn't know him. And I said, what business are you in? Let me guess. He said, cars. He was my interpreter, and I was so impressed. And I was getting ready to leave. He said, sir, I'd like to run for the United States Senate. I said, where are you from? He said, Tennessee. I said, well, I love Tennessee, but do they know you there? No, but if you endorse me, I'll win, right? And I endorsed him, and he took a 48-point lead. And they didn't know who the hell he was. And he's turned out to be a great senator. And now they all know who you are. So you're fantastic, and we thank you. And just the fact that you're doing this and you understand this is a complicated world, and you understand it, Bill. So you've been great.
Thank you
And
very much.
I was also at my
We're
formative
also
stage
pleased
with
to be joined
North
by
Korea
our
and
great
Kim
Vice
Jong-un.
President, J.D.
And,
Vance.
we were a
J.D.,
little bit,
thank you very much.
Going at
Good
it.
job.
Rocket Man, Little Rocket Man, headed back and forth, and it was really nasty.
And he's
then
been
I
up
got a call one
speaking
day,
late at night on the phone. I
and,
said,
they
J.D., how
wanted to
about
get
you taking
together, they
3 or
wanted
4 of
to
these
talk,
people,
and we
please?
started talking,
Because 3 or 4 I
and
cannot
then he
speak
said
to. I just
really
can't.
brilliantly,
Any
he
take
said,
them
you
and
know,
they come through, right,
the
J.D.?
Olympics is going to be
Also,
opening very
Speaker
soon,
Mike
and we'd like to be a part of
Johnson.
it. They actually
He
put teams in
is
it. We get
unbelievable.
along great. And by the way,
He's an
immediately upon that
unbelievable.
phone call,
I mean,
we
if you
started
go by
selling
what we're
tickets, and it
doing,
turned
if
out
you
to be a
keep at this
tremendous
pace,
success.
you
So
can't
it went
keep it
from
up
being
for
empty stadiums because people were afraid to
another
go,
200
because it was
days.
a
But I will
target
tell you this,
potentially,
if you keep up
to
this
a
pace
great
for another week,
success,
you go
and
down
I
as
was
the
very
greatest
proud of that.
speaker
You had
in
one
the
of the
House
most
in history.
successful
So
Olympics.
one more
And now
week.
we have the Olympics
One
coming
more
to the U.S.
Who
So
needs
we're
Tip
very happy
O'Neill?
about that.
Who
But
needs Tip
It was a great
O'Neill?
honor to
He's
get
better
involved
looking
and
than
make
Tip
the
O'Neill,
Olympics so
too.
successful.
But no, he's been going at a fervent pace. Would you say that's right? Your wife probably says, you are crazy. You've been aging beautifully in front. He's an amazing speaker, a great leader, and everybody likes him and respects him, and that's why we're with a very small majority, like 3. We had a time when we were 1. Remember? We said we're 1 heart attack away from losing the House. Then we won a couple of seats and a couple of other. Now we have 7, maybe if we're lucky, 7. But we win with, nobody's ever done, I don't think anyone's ever done this before, to win with those small. We had a little help from Tom too, right, and a lot of other people. I want to introduce also Secretary Howard Lutnick, who's been fantastic. You have done a great job, Howard. We've got trade deals coming out of our ears, right? We had so many trade deals, they're all calling, so many, and I really mean this too. It's like, how do you deal with so many? But, I always say when we send out the paper, that was a deal. They don't want the fake news doesn't want to hear that. When I send out the paper that you're paying 35 or 40% tariff, that's a deal. Then they'll call and see if they can make a little bit different kind of a deal, like opening up their country to trade. In some cases, they've never been opened. But we're doing well, and we have a couple of big ones to announce pretty soon, right? Could almost do it today. Maybe we'll say it. Maybe later on we'll do it. Senator Bernie Moreno, a great victory. Bernie had great victory. A great victory. That was one of the truly tough races. A lot of people weren't sure anybody could win that seat, and you won it in easy fashion, right? We won it together when you think of it. But you won it in easy fashion. You did a great job. Great guy. House Majority Whip. This is a great leader, Tom Emmer, a great politician and leader. Really good. And I like his wife even better. His wife is, she's the boss, but you are married to a fantastic woman, huh? And he knows that, and he likes hearing it, because some people don't, they say, sir, could you please stop saying that my wife is better than me, sir? Those are guys that don't usually end up with a good marriage, He's got a great marriage. So thank you, Tom. You really are a fantastic leader and representative. And Representatives Troy Downing, French Hill. Where's French Hill? Where's French? You have been so great. Thank you, French. I spoke to him a little late when he was walking down the hall. I said, French. He said, I'm there, sir. You are great guy. Everyone respects you, French. You know that.
The Deputy Director of the
Bill Heisinger. Bill, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Good job. Dan Muser, I thought he was going to become the next governor of Pennsylvania, but he likes Congress better, I guess, huh? So, but I think you're terrific, and, I would have always been behind you. That I can tell you. Tim Moore. Tim, thank you, Tim. John Rose. John? Hi, John. Thanks. Good job. Brian Stile. Brian Stile. He's still young. Still nice and young. That's good. G.T. Thompson. GT. Thank you. Andy Barr, good friend of all of ours. Thank you, Andy. Monica De La Cruz.
You'll be there for a long time.
Monica, she's here someplace. Thank you, Monica. Thank you, Monica.
Maybe we're not approaching it properly.
Mike Haradopoulos. Mike, thank you, Mike. Look good.
Much better.
Mike Lawler, Mr. Salt. Well, it should guarantee your district. I mean, you worked hard for New York, right? And you're on television, I'm on television, so this should be good for a couple of points. But without you and your couple of friends from New York, that wouldn't have happened. That was not easy, right? Congratulations. Great job. Anna Paulina Luna. Anna, who is so great. I don't, even if she's here or not here, I want to tell you that she has been so great and worked so hard to make sure we got it approved. Ralph Norman. Ralph?
So resolving this
Ralph,
issue
what happened
through
to
my
Ralph?
engagement is not an easy
Nick
thing.
Begich.
And the only
Nick,
person
thank you,
that
Nick.
can make,
Good job.
progress on this
Good
issue is
job.
you, Mr.
Good
President.
good votes. I just saw a great poll on you, huh? Very good. Congratulations, Nick. Andy
If you
Ogles.
become the
Andy,
peacemaker, then
who's
I
a
will
terrific
assist
friend.
you by
Beth
being a
Van Dyne. Beth, thank you, Beth. Great job. Thank you. Thank you very much for the great support. Roger Williams, a great baseball player, who also had to take a bullet, unfortunately, but he is a great guy. He was involved in that whole catastrophe, but he's fantastic and has been from day one, along with a lot of other people that I won't call out because I have no idea where the hell you are. I think I saw Jason here somewhere. Where's Jason? Oh, it's lucky I called him. Ooh, it's lucky.
It's going to be up to them.
They didn't put your name because I invited you at the last moment, right? He was over there doing some business in the White House.
A meeting and
But
probably close
you've
the
been
deal.
incredible in
But
your
I think it's
position. Nobody
appropriate
knows
they
more
meet. They
about
do not
taxes
exactly get
and
along well,
finance than you do, so we
understand.
appreciate it, right?
And
Is
I'm
that
sure
true,
it's a
Howard?
meeting that
It's true. Thanks,
perhaps he
Jason.
didn't
Great
like.
job. And you'll help
But
out
he
with that
wasn't
other
happy about
matter.
coming to
You make
the
him
United
so
States
strong
either.
and
That was,
powerful, right?
a
Along
big
with Deputy
concession, and
Secretary
I
of
appreciate the
Treasury,
fact that he did.
Michael Faulkender.
You know,
Where's Michael?
I've always had a very good
Michael. How are
relationship
you?
despite the
Good.
fake Russia,
You'll help
Russia,
out
Russia
over there,
harm
okay?
That we had. But we've
And
always had a
Ambassador
great
Ken
relationship,
Howard.
very good relationship,
Ambassador.
strong relationship.
Thank
with
you,
Russia.
Ken. Great
That's
job,
a good
Ken.
thing, not a bad thing, by the way. That's a very good thing.
I also want to
And it's good to get
recognize
along
some
with
of the
Kim Jong-un,
countless
and it's good
industry
to get
leaders
along
here
with
today,
everybody,
including
President
Brian
Lee.
Armstrong of
It's good
Coinbase.
to get along, and I get along with the foreign leaders. You
You've done
see
a
that
good
with,
job, Brian. That's
the
a big
biggest
deal.
group of foreign
Dave
leaders that we've
Ripley
ever
of
had. Don't forget
Kraken.
the European Union was here also representing
Thank you,
a
Dave.
large group of countries.
Jeremy Allaire
just
of
recently.
Circle.
So, I believe that
This is a big
we're
day.
going to get that war straightened
job.
out. We're going to get it done.
Good
I
job,
don't know that they'll
Jeremy.
meet. Maybe they
Paolo
will. Maybe they won't. They'd
Ardino
like me to be at the
of
meeting. I
Tether.
said, you guys ought to work it out.
Paolo,
It's
thank you,
between
Paolo.
you. It's not us. Now, in the meantime,
Ryan
we're not spending any money
McInerney
on,
of
as you
Visa.
know, in
That's a
Ukraine.
good
We're
company.
selling military equipment
Thank you.
to NATO. NATO now
Chris
is taking in,
Pavlovsky of Rumble.
NATO now is
Chris,
taking in
Chris.
a large
What happened to your
amount of money
location,
from
Chris?
the countries.
You're always
They're
a
taking
front
in,
row guy. You're
5%
just being nice today, I
of
think.
GDP versus
How's
2%.
Rumble doing?
They're
Good?
paying the 5%. They never
Good.
paid the 2%.
If Rumble's
Most of
doing
them,
good,
or a
that
lot
means
of them.
Truth is doing good.
NATO has a lot of money. We are
That's good.
selling
You're doing a
military
great job.
equipment
Thank
to
you,
NATO
Chris,
at
very
full
much.
price. And NATO's distributing
Vlad
that equipment
Tenev
to wherever
of
they
Robin
are.
Hood.
Perhaps the Ukraine.
Vlad, thank you,
So
Vlad.
NATO's
Thank
working
you,
with
Vlad.
Ukraine.
Good.
Biden was giving hundreds of billions
Tyler
of dollars just
and
willy-nilly,
Cameron
just giving money. He had no
Winklevoss.
idea
These
where it
are
was
two
going. It was
smart,
terrible what
handsome
was
guys.
happening.
They got the
So
whole
we're not
package.
involved anymore in
They're
terms
of
the
Gemini,
cost.
but they have
We're
the
in for
whole pack. They're of a lot of
$350 billion.
things, actually, but Gemini's
As you know,
just
I
the
also
one for
got
today,
the,
right?
rare
They've got
earth
the
deal
whole,
done
they've got the look,
with
they've got
Ukraine, which was worth much
the
more than the
genius,
$350
got plenty of
billion.
cash,
But,
and it's
I'm not
great that you're
interested
on
in
our
the money
side.
so
You guys
much,
are
even though
great.
we've
I
done
can
a
never
great
tell
job
them
in that
apart,
regard. I'm not
but their
interested
mother
in that.
can. I asked,
I'm
can your
interested
mother
in
tell you
stopping a
apart?
war where
And the answer is
last
yes.
week,
Right? Easily, or is it tough for her?
7,109
Easy, I figure.
soldiers died,
You guys,
both Russian
you guys
and
are big.
Ukraine.
Thank you very much. It's great
Such
to be
a
with
waste
you.
of life.
Let me say
and
the
humanity.
entire
They're
crypto
not from this
community
country.
for years,
They're not from
you
any
were
other country other than
mocked
Ukraine,
and
for the most
dismissed
part,
and
other
counted
than
out. You were
Ukraine
counted
and
out
Russia.
as little as a year and a
It's
half
a very
ago.
important thing.
But
for me
this
to stop
signing
it.
is a massive
I stopped
validation,
7
and
wars.
even before this
Wars that
signing
were
over the
raging,
last
one for 31
year and a
years,
half, I think your
Congo,
stuff has gone up
as
more
you
than
know,
any stock, or just
Rwanda,
about more. A couple
one
of
for,
stocks that were pretty good, I will
35
say.
years.
But
I don't have to go into them. You know the
have
list
certainly
better
as an
than I do.
industry gone up
But
more
we
than
stopped a lot
anybody.
of wars,
Nobody's
including,
gained the respect
you
in
think
such a
about
short
it,
period of
India
time.
and Pakistan,
But
which
this
was
signing is a a massive validation of your hard work and your pioneering spirit and your ability to never give up.
I'm very
Because a
proud
lot of
that.
people would have
I
given
thought
up
this would be in many
2 or
ways
3
the
years
easiest
ago.
way. I have a very
So
good
I want to thank
relationship
you
with Putin. I
for
thought it would be
contributing to the
easiest one to stop, and it's
incredible
really not.
strength of America.
It's very
This is going to make
complex.
it stronger, and
It's very
congratulations
personal
on
from their
this incredible
standpoint. There's
achievement.
tremendous
You've made our
dislike
dollar look
personally
really
between the two
good
men,
and strong and powerful.
and,
It's
we're
good
gonna
for
have to
the
sort
dollar,
that
and
out.
it's good for the
But
country.
I would like to see them
and
meet
that's
first.
why I backed you at
They'd
an
like
early
me to be
stage,
there.
and I
may
also
be
did it
there.
for the
I may
votes, because you
not.
did come
I'll
out
see.
and vote.
But I wanted them to work out their differences first.
And they
because it
changed
is
tune,
ultimately
you know,
between them.
Biden's team, they
And
changed
when that
tune
happens,
right
I
in the
think we'll
middle of
get
the
an end.
campaign. All of a sudden, they loved you guys. They dropped all charges. They did, I got you guys out of so much trouble. And you know what? I don't think anybody voted for them, right? Because you remember they treated you very unfairly, actually. So
This war would have
it's a
never
great
taken
honor
place.
that
And
we
for
were
4 years,
involved.
it didn't take place.
And
But
it
if I were
was a
president, this
tremendous
war would have
amount
never
of support that
taken
we
place.
got at the polls.
There
We won.
has not been a war
Think
like
of it,
this
we
since
won
the
every
Second World
swing
War. This
state.
is
We won by
the
millions of
biggest
votes.
thing
We won the
that's happened in
popular
terms
vote.
of
We won the
warfare,
districts
wars.
by
It's a whole new form of fighting. It's a drone fighting. It's a drone
2,750. Think
war.
of that.
No, a
To
drone war never existed
505.
before. And we're
Different
actually
districts
studying
too, by
it
the way.
from
Every
the
once in a
standpoint
while
of,
that number can
Pete
change,
Hegseth
but it
and
doesn't
everybody
change
was
by
studying
much.
it and
The
studying
map
it very
was
carefully.
almost
It's a
totally
whole
red,
new
and you guys
form of
were
war,
with
but
us
it's a
right from the
violent
beginning.
war,
Exactly
and
1 year
there has been
ago
nothing like
this
since
month,
the Second
many
World
of you
War.
were with me in
So
Nashville,
we'll see what
Tennessee.
happens
Do you
over the
remember
next
that
week or
day?
two,
Right?
and
That was
at
a
that
big
point,
day
I'll
in
step
Nashville,
in very
Tennessee,
strongly, and
when
if I have
we
to be there, I'll be
became, and I
there.
became the first
And,
presidential
we'll either
candidate
have a
ever
deal
to
or we
address
won't.
the Bitcoin
But,
conference.
a lot
And
of
at
people
this
are dying, and I wanna
time,
get
and
this
at that time,
Mr.
crypto
President,
builders and
Kim
founders were
Jong-un wants
under
to meet.
relentless
When you
assault
want to
by
meet.
the Biden administration, which was trying to crush your
Yeah,
industry
we
and
wanna have a
crush you
meeting.
as
I'd like to
people
have a
and go
meeting.
after
I
your
got along great
families.
with
And
them.
they were a
We
vicious group
there.
of people.
We even
You
had
know,
a press
people don't
conference. He
realize
had
it.
his
They were
first press
vicious,
conference.
incompetent,
Kim
but
Jong-un had a
vicious.
press conference. This
Well, Joe
a
was an
little different
incompetent
press
guy, but he
conference.
was always known
I
as
said,
a
have you
vicious
done a
guy.
press conference before?
I guess
No.
if you're going to be in that, you probably
And you know what? He
if they're
did great.
incompetent
It
is
was a
better,
great
right?
press conference,
Because you don't want to
actually.
have a vicious guy that's
Historic. I doubt he's
competent.
done one since.
If you
But
did, I
said,
wouldn't be
would you like
standing
to
here
meet me?
today,
Fake
right?
news.
But I
Because
pledged
whatever you
that we
wanna
would
do,
bring
and
back
they came in,
American
and they
liberty and
came in
leadership and make the
like,
United
you've
States
never
the
seen
crypto
anything like
capital
it.
of the world, and that's what
And then
we've
he
done.
said,
And under
enough.
the Trump
That was the end of the
administration,
talk.
this is only going further. You're going to do
It
really
ended
well.
very
And
rapidly.
I'm so proud of what you've done in the
I
last
think he had a good time.
couple of
I
years,
look
and very
forward to meeting
important.
with
On
Kim
day
Jong-un
one, I remember I did
in the
this, and I
appropriate
said
future.
this, and I mentioned this again, and I got the greatest applause of the whole campaign. We fired Joe Biden's SEC chair, Gary Gensler. We fired him.
We've been friends, and we're friends. And look, we have a lot of people up there. We have over 40,000 troops in South Korea. As you know, South Korea agreed to pay for that during my
But I
last
remember
term.
I
And
was
then when
making a
Biden came
speech,
in, they
and
complained
you know,
to
it was
Biden
just
that
a
I wasn't a
line
nice
speech.
person.
And I
he
said,
agreed
and
not
I
to
will
pay.
fire
He gave
Gary
up
Gensler. The
billions
place
of dollars. We were getting paid
exploded. I
billions
said,
of dollars.
I finished that
But,
one, and I said,
then Biden
what
ended
the
that
hell did
for
that guy
whatever
do?
reason.
There was
Unbelievable.
there was a lot of hatred there. I'll
we have
tell
a
you.
very
And
good
it turned out, as
relationship
I got familiar with
militarily.
everything, it turned out you were
They
absolutely
would say,
right.
but we gave you
In
land.
this
They
place,
said,
I
"No, you didn't. You
appointed
leased
a
us land." There's
visionary
big
chairman
difference
who
between
wants America
giving
to
and
build the
leasing.
future and
maybe
not
one of
block
the
the
things I'd like
future.
to
He's
do
going to
is
be
ask them to
unbelievable.
give
He'll go
us
down as
ownership
one of the
the land
greats.
where
And
we have the big
Paul
fort.
Atkins, where are
You know,
you,
we
Paul
spent a lot of
Atkins?
money building a fort, and there was a contribution made by South Korea. But I would like to see if we could get rid of the lease and get ownership of the land where we have a
And you know,
massive
Paul, the
military
crypto
base.
guys, they said, everybody said, not only crypto, every industry, they all wanted Paul for the position. And he's a tough cookie, too. He's just, but they actually said, we don't care. We just think he's fair. All they wanted was fairness. And they have somebody that you're really a
ally.
champion
So
of the
in
street,
this
and
point
you're a
of view, I would
champion of
like
the
to
country. You're going to do a
ask you and
fantastic
also
job. I saw
President
you interviewed the
what
other
do you
night.
think are the
I
key
watched it
ways
about
to
2
make
o'clock in the
the
morning.
South Korea-US
There was a little
alliance
thing
greater?
called C-SPAN, which
Well, I
I
think it's
don't know
great
how many
now.
people were
I mean,
watching.
I feel
Don't
very
worry, you were
warm
on
to
prime time
report
too, but they happen to have
South
a little
Korea.
rewrite.
I will
I don't
tell
want to
you
embarrass
that,
you,
I
but
have a lot of people in
fantastic
business
job.
that I deal with that are
Really, you are
from
absolutely
South
so
Korea. They
perfect
love
for the
Trump
job.
because
Congratulations.
they feel I've saved.
And
I think
Paul
you
is
would
here
have had a
today
nuclear war
among
by
the
war. I think
commissioners,
you would have had a
various
nuclear war.
commissioners,
North
including
Korea and South Korea.
Hester
I think it would have
Pierce
been a
and Mark
disaster. You're only
Yoida.
60 miles away from, so they
Hester
don't even need
and
nuclear.
Mark
They have
Yoida.
cannons, you know,
Thank
power
you,
plants.
Hester.
They have them buried in the mountains. You know what I'm talking about.
Thank you very much, and thank
I think you
Mark.
would have had, if
Love
I
you,
didn't,
maybe.
if I
Yes, Mark
didn't win
Yoida.
that election,
Oh, stand up,
if
Mark. I
Hillary
didn't
Clinton,
know.
crooked Hillary won
Good.
that election,
Thank
I
you.
think
Good
would have had
job.
a nuclear war.
Good.
It would have taken place.
I'm
It
glad
would
I
have
gave
been
you a second crack. You
horrendous
didn't hear
for
because
everybody,
of the
including them.
thunderous
It would have
applause
been
for
very bad
Hester.
for them because we would have
But thank
enter
you.
the
I heard
picture.
tremendous things about both of you.
We are the
Thank you
most
very much.
powerful
My first
nuclear
week in
country in
office,
the
I
world
also
by far.
established
Russia's second,
the first
China's
ever
third. China's gonna
presidential
catch
working group on
eventually
digital
5 or 6
assets,
years they're
and
working
we
together.
have an
One
executive
of the things we're
director,
trying to
Wiz
do
Bo
with
Hines. Bo
Russia
Hines.
and with China is
Hi, Bo.
denuclearization. And it's very important. One of the things I
And Bo
discussed
was a
with
great football
President
player,
Buckley,
right?
it wasn't
Bo was a
just
great football
that, it
player,
was
one of the
also
better players
other
in
things.
college
And I
football.
think
So
the
I know you from
denuclearization
that also.
is
See?
a very,
Who would think that I
it's a
know
big
that? I know a
aim,
lot of things,
but
Bo.
Russia's willing
But
to
he
do
was
it, and I
a
think China's
champion
gonna be
player.
willing to
Stop
do it too.
the weaponization
can't
of government
let
against crypto and Bitcoin,
nuclear
and we
weapons
ended the lawless
proliferate.
Operation
We have to stop
Choke
nuclear
Point
weapons. The power is too
2.0. That was a bad operation. And I kept my promises to the community and granted a full presidential pardon to Ross Ulbricht. Ross Ulbricht. And you have no idea how important that name became. It was like a symbol, and his mother was unbelievable. His mother was an unbelievable woman, but it was so important to a certain group of people. And in the truly momentous act last March, I signed an executive order establishing the U.S. Strategic Bitcoin Reserve, as well as the United States Digital Asset Stockpile. And that's all signed up. And with today's signing, we're pushing even further into the exciting new frontier. Just as I promised last year, the Genius Act creates a clear and simple regulatory framework to establish and unleash the immense promise of dollar-backed stable coins. This could be perhaps the greatest revolution in financial technology since the birth of the internet itself. A lot of people are saying that. I don't know. What do you guys think? Yes?
We didn't use it.
If you say yes, I'm saying yes.
They started to use solar panels that took
I
over the
think it's
land
great
all over
that
the
you're
Midwest.
involved, I will
where
tell
the
you.
farmers
Many
said, "What happened
Americans
to my
are
land?"
unaware
They'd have
that
a
behind the
10-mile by
scenes,
10-mile
the
solar
technical
field
backbone
that
of the
they couldn't
financial
farm.
system is
The most valuable
decades out of date,
land,
many
farming
years out
land
of
in the
date.
world, probably
You
the
know
most
that
vibrant in the
Paul and
world.
others are straightening
And
it
they
out,
put
but
solar
payments
plants all over the
and
place.
money
It's
transfers are
ridiculous.
costly
Big,
and take
massive
days or even
black
weeks to
fields of
clear.
solar that all
Under
comes
this
out of
bill, the
China.
entire
All
ancient
plastic.
system will
All
be
comes out of
eligible
China.
for a 21st
But we
century
have,
upgrade
we have the greatest
using
amount of
the
energy
state-of-the-art
in
crypto
the world, and we're
technology.
dealing with
Who
South
would have thought
Korea,
we
as
would
you
have
know,
been
in
saying
Alaska.
that
And
2
we're
years
gonna be making
after
a deal, a joint
I
venture
really
with
met you
South
for the
Korea.
first time?
Japan
The
is
Genius
involved
Act
also, very
provides
strongly
banks,
involved.
businesses, and
So we have
financial
Japan and
institutions a
South
framework
Korea,
for issuing crypto
we're
assets
actually
back
the closest.
one for
It
one
seems like quite far
with
away,
real
Alaska
U.S.
and-
dollars,
but
treasury
actually
bills, and
it's
other
right
cash
up-
equivalents.
right
It's
up the
really
Little Ocean, right up the
strengthening
Little
the dollar
Pacific Ocean.
and
It's actually pretty
giving
close,
the
relatively
dollar
speaking.
great prominence. And,
We have more
you know, we
oil
have
and
this
gas
little group
and
called
coal
BRICS. It's
than
fading
any
out
other nation
fast.
in the world by
But
far.
BRICS is, they
And
wanted
we're
to
gonna
try
use
and
it,
take
and
over
that's
the dollar,
the
the
thing that
dominance of
South
the
Korea, I
dollar
think,
and
most wants from
the
us,
standard
I
of the
would think.
dollar. And I said, anybody that's in the BRICS consortium of nations, we're going to tariff you 10%.
Say it.
And they had a meeting the following day, and almost nobody showed up.
I loved it. Remember when I walked across the line and everyone
they didn't
went
want to be
crazy?
tariffed there.
Especially
It's
Secret
amazing.
Service, I would say
No, we're not going to let the
everyone.
dollar slide.
And I
If we
looked
have a
into
smart
those
president,
windows,
you're
you
never
know,
going to
the
let the
windows
dollar
of
slide. If
glass
you have a dummy,
that you could only
that
see
could
if you
happen.
looked direct,
Like the
'cause
last
there's all
one, he
sorts
would,
of stuff.
if
But
you
I
ever
looked
asked
in
him
and I
about
saw
the
more
dollar sliding,
rifles
he would have
pointing at
no
me than you
idea.
could. There were a
But
lot of
we
rifles
can't
in
let that
that
ever
building.
happen again.
The Secret
Consumers,
Service was not
vendors, and
happy.
people all over the world
You know
will
the
then be
buildings
able
I'm
to
talking
use those
about?
stable
Two
coins for
blue
ultra-low-cost
buildings
transactions
on each side.
that are
And I walked
cleared
up
and
the
settled
building
in a
and I
matter
looked
of
in the window
seconds
and I
rather
saw
than
more
weeks and
guns
months.
in that room than I've
And
ever seen in my life. I
it's
looked
really
at
an
the other
amazing
side,
thing. And with the
it was the
privacy,
same
flexibility, and
thing. And yet I felt
decentralization of
safe.
cash,
I felt safe
this
'cause I have a great
revolution has the
relationship with
potential
Kim
to supercharge
I
American
hope it
economic
stays that
growth
way. I
and
think it
empower
will.
billions of
I
people
have a very
to
good
save and
relationship.
transfer
I understand
in
them. I spend a
U.S.
lot of
dollars.
free
It's
time
really
with
all
them
backed
talking
by the
about
dollars.
things that
It's
we
really
probably aren't
a
supposed to
great
talk
thing, and a
about.
lot of, you know, we had a lot of Democrat support. I have
I
to
get
tell
along
you
with
that.
them
I was
really well.
shocked
I
anytime
think
you
he
get
has a
one
country
Dem,
of
but we
great
had
potential,
a tremendous amount of Democrat support, which we appreciate it, which
I'm
just
meeting a lot
shows
of
you
people. I mean, it's
that
hard
you're
to
doing
say
the
that,
right
but
thing.
I'd like to meet him.
This will increase
year.
demand for U.S. Treasuries, lower
Presidency would like
interest
me to
rates,
come
and
to
secure
China.
the dollar's
It's a very
status as the
important
world's
relationship.
reserve currency for
As you know,
generations to
we're
come.
taking
The
a lot of
reserve
money in
currency
from
is so
China
important.
because
You
of
know, if
the
we
tariffs
lost that, that would be like
different things.
losing a world war.
It's
We
a
can
very
never
important
let
relationship.
anyone
We're going to
play
get along
games
good
with
with
us,
China.
and that's why
I hear
when
so
I heard
many
about
stories
this
about
group
we're not
from
going to allow
BRICS,
their students.
6
We're
countries
going to allow their
basically,
students to come in.
I hit them
We're
very,
gonna allow-
very
it's very
hard.
important. 600,000
And,
students. It's very important. But we're
if
going to
they
get
ever
along with
form-
China.
If they ever
But
really
it's a different
form in a
relationship
meaningful
that we
way,
have now with China. It's a much
it
better
will end
relationship
very
economically
quickly, I will tell you for that.
than it
They
was
won't-
before.
They
With
won't
Biden,
be gone very long. I
when
don't think
he
they'll even
allowed
do
that,
it.
I mean, they just took him to the cleaners.
They're
You know the
virtually
expression?
afraid to meet.
They took him
I
to the
also
cleaners.
remain
I'm
fully
sure they have
committed
an
to
equal
my
expression in
pledge
South
never
Korea,
to allow the creation
but,
of
they
a
took that
central
guy out
bank
for a ride
digital
like nobody's
currency in
ever been
America. It
ridden
won't
before.
happen.
Terrible.
My first.
But we have a very strong relationship, Howard, I would say, economically with China now, getting much better.
Thank you.
They have to
And
give
the
us
other night,
magnets if
I
they
will
don't
say,
give us
with some of the
magnets,
congressmen
and
and
we have
women,
to charge
they
them
wanted that
200%
so
tariff or
badly.
something,
That was
you
so
know?
important to
But
them.
we're not gonna have a
I was
problem, I
impressed
don't
that they
think,
knew
with
what the
that.
hell it was, to be honest
think
with you.
that's
Please,
perhaps
sir,
behind.
please,
You know,
the
China
central bank digital
intelligently went
currency,
and
well,
they
you have to
sort of
make
took a
sure.
monopoly of the world's
And I'm saying, what do you
magnets.
know about that? It's
And nobody
amazing the
needed
knowledge
magnets
that
until
people
they
have gained
convinced
all of a
everybody
sudden.
20 years
We have a
ago.
lot of
Let's all
problems
do
with some
magnets.
of
There were
them.
many other
I said,
ways
we've
that the
already
world
got
could
it
have done,
from the
but-
Fed,
So it'll
right,
take us
from
probably
commerce,
a year to have
and
them.
from
We're
an executive
heavy
order.
into the world of
You
magnets
don't need
now,
it a fourth
only
time.
from a
Sir,
national
we have to
security
get it.
standpoint.
It's
But,
amazing.
But we have a
But,
powerful thing. It's
they knew
airplane
their
parts
subject,
and
though,
many
didn't they,
Boeing
huh?
jets. You know, they had
And
200
we
jets
helped
that didn't
them out.
fly.
My first week in
And I've
office, I
sent them all
signed an
based
executive
on
order to
his
ban the
word.
creation of
I
a
sent them all of the parts
CBDC
so
in the
their
United
planes
States,
can
and
fly.
very soon I look
I
forward
could
to
have held
signing
them back. I didn't do
legislation that will
because of
codify
the relationship I
and
have.
ban the,
And they're
make it a
flying- their
permanent
planes are
law,
now
put it
flying.
in
You know, we had,
permanence. I'm also
200
committed to
of their
signing
planes were
landmark
unable to
crypto
fly
market
because
structure
we were not
legislation
giving
this
them
year to
Boeing
grow
parts
the
purposely
industry.
because they
We're
weren't
going to be
giving us
growing it
magnets.
even more
Therefore,
than
we weren't
people ever
giving it-
thought.
But we have
It's
a
really
much more
hot
powerful
industry.
thing that's tariffs.
And
If we
for a
wanted
little
to put
while, 2 nights
100%,
ago, we
200%
were
tariffs on it, we
little
wouldn't do any
concerned
business with
because
China.
we're a little short on votes.
Be okay
It's
too
like,
if we had to.
I would
But,
say maybe
the
we were
magnet
about
situation,
9 short.
we have tremendous power
9
over
short
them,
at
and
3
they
in
have
the
some
morning.
power over us with
We
magnets. We're
were
going to have a lot of
about
magnets
4 short
in
at
a pretty short period of
3:30 in the
time.
morning.
In fact, we'll have so many we
And
won't
we
know
were
what to do
in
with
good
them.
shape at 4 o'clock in the morning,
You
right?
know the story. It's a very
But the
interesting
people,
history
and
with
few people
magnets.
have fought
And
harder
realize
for
'cause
the bill than
presidents,
we're
not being
signing
business
than
people, they allowed that
some
to
of the
happen.
people here today.
And they
You have
shouldn't
been
have.
unbelievable.
But we
It's
have much
our
more.
White House
I don't know,
AI
in
and
terms of
crypto
playing the
czar
cards,
David
we have-
Sachs, who's
we have
done
much
such a
bigger and
great
better
job.
cards than they do. But with that being said, I think we have a great relationship. I spoke to the presidency fairly recently.
And I did
at some
his.
point, probably during
I
this
did
year or
his,
shortly thereafter, we'll go
he
to
has a
China.
show now. He's become a
And I think
showman.
we're
But a
gonna
couple of
see a
years ago, it's
magnificent
probably
sight.
2 years ago now
It's
in
a
San
great country.
Francisco.
Mr.
And
President,
I
on the
did his
national
show.
scale and President
And I
Lee
heard
actually
he's a
are
very
planning
smart
to go to
guy, and
China.
we had a great
You
show.
mentioned
You
either
kept
this
it going a
year or
lot
next year.
longer, and
Could
you
you
got.
please share
Is
more
that still your
details
highest
about
rated
your
ever
plans
show?
for
Oh, he knows
China
what to say.
and also
He
President
knows what.
Well, maybe we'll do it
He had
together.
a rating that we had millions and millions of people. He said, "What's going on?" But we had a great show. They said, "That guy's really smart." I said, "If I get
Remember
elected,
President
I was
Obama
running at
used to
that
talk
time. If
about
I
the
get elected, we're going to bring him
ozone
into
layer,
government."
and then he'd
so
fly
he's
to
worth
Hawaii to
a
play around
fortune.
the golf in
He's made a lot of money. He's a very rich. He's a very rich millionaire. But this is more important, isn't it? This is me too. You know, it's like doesn't matter. This is
Oh,
what
it's
you
not
know.
about
Howard and I
joking,
talk
but if you
about
want,
it
you
all the
can-
time. How to hire one or two people. And it's not the same as. It's not the same as what you're
If you
doing
want to
now.
go, I'm going to
The
get
biggest-
special
We're doing the
permission.
biggest
I'm
deals
sure
in the
you
world.
can
Actually,
go.
the deal we're doing now in
We're
tariffs
going to have a
is
great relationship
the
with China.
biggest, when
it's
you
happening.
add it
You
up,
see it. It's
the
happening.
biggest deal ever made in history.
They have
It
some
could be
cards.
1,000
We have
IBMs. I
incredible
mean, if you
cards,
think
but I don't
of
want to
it,
play those
it's the
cards.
biggest
That
deal
would-
ever
If I played those
done.
cards, that would
So
destroy
it's hard to
China.
go
I'm
back
not
to a
gonna play those
brokerage
cards.
firm and
Mr. President, on the
make
national
National Guard, you
$79,000 commission on the sale of a sock.
also
But
consider sending the National Guard into
true.
red states and red
But I
cities
want to
are
ask
also
David. So
seeing
David's been fantastic. He's done an incredible job.
If you look
And
at
I'd like to ask David to
top
come up and say a
25
few words.
cities
Thank
that-
you very much.
for crime, just about every one of those cities is run by gun leaders. And you know, one of the bad things they did cashless bail, if you look back on time.
All right, thank you, President
when
Trump.
they
It's a
allowed
great honor to
murderer
be here,
out
and it's
that
true that I
afternoon,
never
you know,
expected
he
to
killed
work in
somebody
government at
and
all, and then
couple of hours later,
everything
he's walking
changed
the
after
streets
President
again,
Trump came on my
oftentimes killing
podcast,
again
and
rapidly.
I accepted this job as cryptozoologist because I thought it was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to work for a president who really wants to get things done for the American people. And if anything, that's been an understatement. The first 6 months of this administration have been more successful than any administration in American history. What's been done?
So we can end cashless bail.
It's
When will you deploy
It's just been incredible. President Trump has worked at tech speed. We're used to working fast in Silicon Valley, but even this is fast for us in Silicon Valley. The speed at which you move President Trump is really incredible. And now today, you have another historic legislative achievement that is a monumental step to fulfilling your promise to making the United States the crypto capital of the world. This Genius Act will unlock American dominance in the crypto industry by creating clear rules of the road. It will update archaic payment rails with a revolutionary new payment system, and it will extend U.S. dollar dominance, like you said, globally, by creating a digital dollar that people all over the world can use. And for every digital dollar in a crypto wallet, there'll be a traditional dollar in a U.S. bank account, which will create trillions of dollars of demand for U.S. Treasuries. So that is the power of this bill, is U.S. dollar dominance. This is a huge promise made and promise kept by President Trump. And there's just a few other people I'd like to thank. First, my family for being here. Thank you.
Right now, people are going out to dinner. Restaurants are opening. Restaurants that were going to close are now going to stay open.
And Bo Hines, who President Trump mentions, the director of our crypto council, he really did the heavy lifting here. So, Bo, I just want to thank you again. And my chief of staff, Tracy Johnson, as well, who also does the heavy lifting.
And has a lot of respect for it, but I view it maybe a little different.
Bill Hagerty and French Hill and all the congressmen and senators who have already been mentioned by President Trump, so I'll save the time, but it was really been an honor to work with all of you. This was really a team effort, but most of all, I want to thank President Trump for accomplishing what nobody thought was possible, and it's true that just earlier this week, the media was reporting that this bill was dead. This bill was dead, and then the media didn't know one thing, that we had a secret weapon. We have a deal maker in chief. And thanks to President Trump, he stepped in and saved this bill. And it's because of your vision, your leadership, your determination, your skill that we're all here today. So thank you very much, President Trump.
Because they don't have murders for years. But we have not had a murder in 11 days. And that's going to go on for a long time. And there will be
Is that Laura?
It will happen a little bit, but we have a very safe city. This is one of the safer cities
She
right
was
now in the
the
country.
head of the
And in a short period
Republican
of time,
Party,
it'll be like the border.
and nobody
Nobody
complained
came in
about
through our border
anything.
for the last 90
We
days,
weren't
3
great.
months.
This is
We have
Laura
zero
Trump,
illegal aliens.
married
from
to
the
a young
Congo,
gentleman
from
named
South
Eric.
America,
They have beautiful
from
two
all over the
children,
world,
but she has
from
been so
prisons
good.
coming
She
in,
stepped
pouring
into
into
that
our
position
country.
like it was
Nobody,
nothing
not
that we
one
wanted.
person.
She said,
And
Dad,
this is done by a
I'd like to
liberal
go home
group, a
right now
liberal
to
think
my
tank. They do the
beautiful
work.
husband and
Not
my
one
son and
person has
daughter,
come into
but
our
you did a
country. Think of that.
fantastic job.
It's been amazing.
You
and I
worked
didn't
with
have
a
to go
great
back to
gentleman,
Congress
too.
and
He's
ask.
doing a fantastic
Biden
job.
could have done this by
But
himself.
I just
I did.
want
I
to
said,
thank you.
close the
just
borders. We had the
back
great
there. I
Tom
wanted to bring her
Homan.
in. Thank you very
We had
much, Laura.
Christie, as
Thank
you know. Christie Noem did a fantastic job. She's doing a fantastic job.
So
Pete
under
Hegseth
the
has
Trump
been
administration,
incredible with the,
I just got back from
as I call it,
Saudi
the Department
Arabia,
of War.
and
we call it
we
the Department
went to
of Defense,
Qatar.
right?
We
Between
went
us, I think we're going
to
to change the name. You want to know the truth?
a
I think we're
number
going
of
to
countries.
have some information
and
on
I
that
will tell
maybe
you
soon. But I think because
the level of
Department of
respect that
Defense,
this country has
we
now
won
is
the
incredible.
World War I,
The
World War
UAE,
II.
I tell you
it was
what, we
called
had
the
a
Department
time
of War.
there, but every
And,
leader said the same
to me,
thing.
that's
They said
really
1 year ago
what it is.
your
It's
country
defense
was
is a
dead,
part of that.
and they'd say it
But
that way.
I have a
It was
feeling
like,
we're going to be changing.
you know, I
it,
didn't
but
know whether I was
I'm
supposed
talking
to
to
be
the people. Everybody
happy or
likes
insulted,
that.
but
We
the
had
truth
an
is we
unbelievable
were
history of
in
victory.
deep trouble. But they
when
said
it was
1 year ago your
Department of
country
War,
was
then we
dead,
changed it to
and
Department
today
of
you have the
Defense. So that's a
hottest
little,
country anywhere in the
thing
world,
has
and it's
nothing
true.
to do
We have
with
the
your
hottest
country,
country
but,
in the world.
it's
We had a
something that I
country
think
we
you're
were a
gonna be
laughing
hearing
stock with the
about or seeing
borders,
about
people
over the next
pouring
couple
in.
of weeks.
Can you imagine
Probably that
last
change is going to be made over the next week
in the
or
month
so.
of June, actually, zero. Now, I don't even believe that, zero, because you have
Well, I
hundreds
know
of
it is two
thousands
Koreas. I mean,
pouring in,
there
and then all of a
was one
sudden
Korea. It
zero.
was a
But they have
very
it down to
large
zero,
country,
and very
and a very
liberal people
powerful
take that
country, and
particular
it was a
job.
country
It's
that
a
went to
liberal
war
group,
with
so
China. President Xi
they're not giving
explained
us
it.
any favors.
Went to
It's
war
zero
with China
people
many
coming
times
to our
over
border.
the
Can you imagine
last
that? From
2,000 years.
literally
Many-
hundreds of
maybe
thousands
over
and
51
millions
times.
pouring
So,
in. From
I
all
remember I
over the
went to
world, they
President
came
Xi
from.
and said, "You know, we're
They
having a
came from all
problem
over the world. They
with
came from prisons,
North Korea.
jails. They came from
Straighten it out,
mental
would you please?"
institutions,
She said, "Well,
gang
we have been
members.
to
There were
war with
gangs.
them."
They came from
I think
all
he
over
said
the place, from
51
every
times.
country. They
But
came
at
from
that
the
time it was the
Congo
whole
and
of Korea.
Africa,
It
a
wasn't,
lot
you
from
know,
the
North and
Congo.
South.
They came from South
And,
America.
after he explained
a lot
that, I
came
said, all right,
from
not going to be
Venezuela.
that
They
easy. I
emptied
guess
their
you're right.
jails
But, you know, you
into
had
our
one
country.
Korea,
Can you
and it was a
imagine? They
very
allowed
big,
that,
powerful
emptied their jails into our
nation.
country, country and
Now
they let
you
them
have
walk
two
right
big
into our
powerful
country
nations,
like
but you have
perfect.
essentially a wall in between.
11,888 committed murder. 50% committed more than one person. They murdered more than one person. 50% of 11,888. And we had murderers, and we're getting them out, and Tom Homan and Christie are doing a great job at Town Hall, and I tell you, see Central casting a lot. And he takes abuse, but they just keep fighting, and they're winning, and we're winning in the courts, and we're winning everywhere.
There was a raid on churches. We're going to talk
we've got
about
the
that
hottest
later. I haven't
country in the
spoken
world,
about
and
it
you're a
yet,
big
but
part of
we
it.
mean-
So the golden
You know,
age
that
of
would be too
America
bad
is
if that's
upon
the
us,
case, but
and
I did hear
with
that from
today's
Intel,
signing, the
that
future
there
of
was a raid
crypto
on
and the
churches,
crypto industry,
closing some churches.
the U.S.
So
dollar
we'll talk
working
about that
together,
later.
because they
I can
really
ask you
are
that.
hand in hand, is going to be stronger and bigger and better than ever before. And I just want to thank everybody. Some
Because it didn't
tremendous
sound
people
to me
in
like
this room.
South Korea.
And maybe when I sign, I'll ask some of our great senators and congressmen to come on up. Some of the top crypto guys, please come on up, because you guys worked very hard at this. And we'll sign this, and we'll get on to the next battle, and we'll win. But we're winning all over the world right now. It's not even close. Not even close, and we're going to keep it going. Thank you, everybody, very much. Thank you.
물론 저희 통제하에 있지만 대한민국에서 미군을 직접 수사한 게 아니고 국부대 안에 있는 한국군의 통제 시스템이 어떻게 작동했나를 확인한 것 같습니다. 나중에 좀 더 자세히 설명드릴 수가 있습니다.
So it hasn't been long since Korea has overcame the political turmoil following.
This is not an
the
auto pen, by the way.
coup by the former
Which is
president.
a big scandal.
Currently, there is a
If that were a
fact-finding
Republican, it would
investigation
really be a big
by
scandal.
special prosecutor
But it
that
is
was
one of the
appointed
great
by
scandals
the
of our
National
time.
Assembly.
Thank you very
And
much,
this,
everybody.
special
Is his
prosecutor.
name They took him from our country. Deranged Jeff. He's a deranged, sick individual. Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm only kidding.
Maybe and that special prosecutor is not under my control. So the special prosecutor is conducting a fact-finding investigation, and I would like to explain about what you said about U.S. bases. They did not conduct a search and seizure of American bases, but they looked into the chain of command and the control system of the Korean military.
Right.
And I would be happy to
That's okay.
explain about this more in detail
I'm sure it's
during our lunch meeting.
I am sure it's a misunderstanding, but you know there is a rumor going around about churches raiding churches. So we'll talk. I'm sure that's going to be worked out fine. Yeah, please go ahead.
Mr. President, what conversations have you had with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu about what is going on in Gaza? There was a UN-backed report that said there's a famine in Gaza. Based on what you know and what you've been briefed on, do you agree with that?
So I mean, I deal with Bibi Netanyahu quite a bit, and we had great success, obviously, in Iran. We knocked out their nuclear threat. That would have been a horror show having them have a nuclear weapon. They would have used it too. We did very well there. Right now, they're talking about Gaza City. There's always talking about something. At some point, it's going to get settled. And I'm saying you better get it settled soon. You have to get it settled soon. And that means, you know, nobody can forget October 7th. People forget October 7th. That was one of the most brutal. I've seen some terrible things, some brutal things. That was about as bad as it gets. And nobody can forget that. With that being said, it's got to get over with. It's got to get over with because between the hunger and all of the other problems, worse than hunger, death, pure death, people being killed. And, you know, I'm the one that brought back the hostages, and I did it with that gentleman right there, Steve Witkoff, and with Marco. All of us, the whole team, we worked together. Even the trade people worked on it with us. And we brought back a lot of the hostages. Now we're left with, would you say 20, Steve, or would you say it's less than 20?
I hope it's 20.
He hopes it's 20 because some could be dead. That's what he means, I assume.
Yes.
So we have 20, but there's rumors that some could be dead. It's a terrible situation over there. Terrible, terrible situation. But it's coming to a head. It's coming to an end. We are sending, you know, we sent $60 million of food over there just recently. And I don't even know if people know it. We distributed ourselves. We're giving a lot of food, spending a lot of money on food, getting it over there. We have a lot of food. We have a lot of oil, and we have the greatest farmers in the world. So we have a lot of food, but we're sending a lot of it over to Gaza, and we're feeding a lot of people. But with all of that being said, it's a lot of people to feed. And I think that we will have, I think within the next 2 to 3 weeks, you're going to have pretty good, conclusive a conclusive ending. And it's a hard thing to say because they've been fighting for thousands of years. If you want to know, that's been a hotbed forever. But I think we're doing a very good job. But it does have to end. But people can't forget October 7th either.
Do you plan to attend APEC summit?
Isn't it it's such an incredible place?
Yeah, I'd love to. I'd love to. Last time I spoke in front of your parliament, and I love doing that. Beautiful
right here.
Respect they had for our country.
It would be right through that.
A beautiful room.
Right
I remember how beautiful it was, and I enjoyed doing it. No, I could see going. I think I'm going for a trade meeting to South Korea.
It's going to be fantastic.
You're hosting a trade meeting. So I can sneak away from that trade meeting and we'll go.
You can let them come in.
The president, if he'd like me to do that, okay? But so we'll be going there.
I think we're going to have a successful talk today.
If you attend, then it's a good chance
Please,
to
come on in.
meet up Kim Jong-un again, or maybe Xi Jinping.
Do you guys want to take some questions?
How do you think?
You mean set them up together?
Yes.
That'd be interesting. We'll arrange a meeting between you and Kim Jong-un. Would you like that? That's a very tough question right now. I don't know where that question is leading. Anyway, look, I get along great with Kim Jong-un, and if whatever I can do.
Well, thank you very much.
Having to
It's
do
a
with
great
South
honor.
Korea and getting people
Have
together.
you here?
It should. We should
Special
get
place. White House is special no matter where you're from.
Yes, ma'am.
Represents so much, and it really is beautiful. And thank you for all of the wonderful things that took place today. We've had a very successful day thus far. Important discussions as we work to end the killing and stop the war in Ukraine. We're all working for the same goal. Very simple goal. We want to stop the killing, get this settled.
We're going to have a big, within a period
just had
of, it takes a while.
honor of being with President Zelensky and all of the discussions that we've had. We've covered a lot of territory.
Now, with that being said,
and I spoke directly with President Putin today. We're going to call President Putin right after this meeting. I'm sure we're going to have a solid meeting, good meeting, maybe a great meeting, and we're going to try and work out a trilat after that and see if we can get it finished, put this to sleep, because this is not since the Second World War has there been anything like this. So I'm honored to welcome NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte, who's a great gentleman, great political leader in Europe generally, but now he's the NATO Secretary General, and you're doing a fantastic job. Thank you very much, Mark.
I'm not involved in that.
Prime Minister Starmer of the United Kingdom, our friend and my friend, and doing really well, and people like him a lot. We all like him. Everyone knows President Macron of France, who's been with me from the beginning, one of the first people I met was a foreign dignitary, and I liked him from day one. And I like him even more now. That's pretty good. That's unusual. That's a pretty unusual thing.
They raided Mar-a-Lago.
Prime Minister Meloni of Italy, who's really a great leader and an inspiration over there. She's served now, even though she's a very young person, she's served there for a long period of time relative to others. They don't last very long. You've lasted a long time. You're going to be there a long time. Chancellor Merz of Germany, who is a very strong person and a very strong leader and very highly respected in Germany. And he's my friend, and it's an honor to have him as my friend. Thank you very much. Very good. You look great with your tan. Where did you get that tan? I want to get a tan like that. President Stubb of Finland, and he's somebody that, where are we here?
Mr. President, yeah.
Oh,
President Lee.
You look better than I've ever seen you look. But you've done a great job, and we wanted to have you here because you're somebody that we all respect. And you've had a lot to do with the success, I think, and the potential success. And thank you very much for being here. We appreciate it. And the President of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, who is somebody that we just made a big deal with all of those countries. I don't know. I think you might be more powerful than all these guys at this table. I don't know. But we had a great negotiation, and you're respected all over the world, so I want to thank you very much for being here. It's a great honor to have you. The Alaska Summit reinforced my belief that while difficult, peace is within reach, and I believe that in a very significant step. President Putin agreed that Russia would accept
It's a very big problem.
security guarantees for Ukraine, and this is one of the key points that we need to consider, and we're going to be considering that at the table also, like who will do what, essentially. I'm optimistic that collectively we can reach an agreement that would deter any future aggression against Ukraine, and I actually think there won't be. I think that's even overrated, largely overrated, but we're going to find out, and I think that the European nations are going to take a lot of the burden. We're going to help them, and we're going to make it very secure. We also need to discuss the possible exchanges of territory, taking into consideration the current line of contact. That means the war zone, the war lines that are pretty obvious, very sad actually to look at them. And negotiating positions. President Putin, also you have President of Ukraine, who is, you just met a little while ago, and we're going to try and get a three-party meeting, maybe as soon as we can. And I have a feeling you and President Putin are going to work something out. Ultimately, this is a decision that can only be made by President Zelensky and by the people of Ukraine working also together in agreement with President Putin. And I just think that's very good things are going to come of it. So I hope we have a good meeting. And if we can have a good meeting, I'll set up a meeting with President Putin, and if you'd like, I'll go to that meeting. And not that I want to do that, but I will do that because we want to save a lot of people from dying. A lot of people are dying, and we got to save them. Got to save it. 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 people sometimes a week. All of us would obviously prefer an immediate ceasefire while we work on a lasting peace, and maybe something like that could happen. As of this moment, it's not happening, but President Zelensky and President Putin can talk a little bit more about that. You know, in the 6 or so wars that we stopped, we haven't had a ceasefire, and so I don't know that it's necessary. You can do it through the war, but it would be, I like the ceasefire from another standpoint. You immediately stop the killing. But I believe a peace agreement at the end of all of this is something that's very attainable, and it can be done in the near future. With all of the wars that I got involved in, we only have this one left. Of course, as I walk out the door, there'll probably be a new one starting, and I'll get that stopped too. But I thought this was going to be one of the easier ones. It's actually one of the most difficult and very complex. The next step would be for a trilateral meeting, and that will be worked out. And I just look forward to working and having a great result. We're going to spend a lot of time today talking about, and we're really honored you guys came over. I mean, these are the heads of major countries, and respected all over Europe. And they speak for, largely, I think I should say, but pretty much for the other countries of Europe. And we will come to a resolution today, I think, on almost everything, including probably the security. And that's pretty much the story. I'd like to say, Mr. President, would you like to say something? You have the media. If you want, you could come over and you could stand, you could use mine, or you could just turn around, whichever you feel comfortable with.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you. I can speak without microphone. Thank you so much. I think that we had very good conversation with President Trump.
Very good.
And it really was the best one. Or sorry, maybe the best one will be in the future. But it was really good. And we spoke about very sensitive points. The first one is security guarantees. And we are very happy with President that all the leaders are here, and the security in Ukraine depends on the United States and on you and on those leaders who are with us in our hearts. They have been online before yesterday, and etc. So a lot of countries on the side of Ukraine, our people, and all of us want to finish this war, stop Russia and stop this war. We spoke about it, and we will speak more about security guarantees. This is very important that the United States gives such strong signal and is ready for security guarantees. The second point, or maybe the first, humanitarian direction, very important to exchange all the prisoners, and I think that President will help. And I was very thankful to your wife again, Mr. President, for the letter about our abducted children, and I hope that really it can be a historic role for the people to bring kids back to the families and be happy. And
Get
the
the people
families.
back, yeah.
Yes, this is so important, and I'm happy that we discussed it, this track with President Trump, and I hope that we will find decisions. And then what is very important, that all the sensitive things, territorial, etc., we will discuss on the level of leaders during Trilateral meeting, and President Trump will try to organize such meeting, and he said that he will come or not come. Ukraine will be happy if you will
both want me there, I will be there. Yeah,
yeah,
you know that.
thank you. And I think this is very important. Yes, so security guarantees, bringing kids back, and all our people, not only warriors, first of all warriors, and all the civilians, journalists, a lot of people in prison. So we need them back. And guarantees which will work for the years. We spoke about it, and I showed the President a lot of details on the battlefield, on the map. Thank you so much. Thank you for the map, by the way.
Good map.
It was great. Yeah. I'm thinking how to take it back.
We'll get you.
No. I think that we had constructive, specific meeting, and I'm very thankful to all the leaders who are here, and you help a lot, and so we are happy that we have such big unity today. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much,
for hosting us.
Mr. President. I think you'll see that President Putin really would like to do something else. I think when we set that up, when we do, I think it's going to be when,
You
not
can let
if.
them come in.
I think you're going to see some very really positive moves. I know there's over 1,000 prisoners, and I know they're going to release them. Maybe they're going to release them very soon, like immediately,
Do you guys want to take
which
some
I think is great. But we will. We're going to set that up today after this meeting. So very good and great remarks. I appreciate it. Mark, as head of NATO, maybe you could say a few words, please.
Yes, I will be very brief. I really want to thank you, President of the United States, dear Donald, for the fact that you, as I said before, broke the deadlock.
Well, thank you very much.
With President Putin by starting that dialogue. And I think it was in February that you had the first phone call, and from there we are now where we are today. And that is, I think, if we play this well, we could end this. And we have to end it. We have to stop the killing. We have to stop the destruction of Ukraine's infrastructure. It is a terrible war. So I'm really excited. And let's make the best out of today and make sure that from today onwards we get this thing to an end as soon as possible. I really want to thank you for your leadership. What you are doing for Volodymyr, but of course also all the European colleagues. It is really crucial. And the fact that you have said, I'm willing to participate in the security guarantees is a big step. It's really a breakthrough, and it makes all the difference. So also thank you for that.
NATO also has agreed from 2% to 5%, which is something that is a massive amount of money. And it's 2% that wasn't always paid to 5% that is paid. That's a big difference, and so we appreciate that. That was a great move. Thank you very much. Ursula, maybe on behalf of the Commission, you could say a couple of words.
I'm honored to welcome
Thank you very much.
NATO
It's a
Secretary
pleasure
General
to be here. And
Mark
it's a very
Rutte,
important
who's a
moment.
great gentleman,
Indeed, we are here, Europeans, as friends and allies.
Generally,
we had a fantastic NATO summit.
NATO Secretary General, and
together
you're doing a
the two
fantastic job.
largest
Thank you very
and
much,
biggest
Mark.
economies in the world.
Prime
we had
Minister
the
Starmer
largest
of the
trade deal
United
ever.
Kingdom, our
agreed.
friend and my friend, and
now we are here
doing
to work
really well.
together with you.
And
on a just and
people like him
lasting
a lot.
peace for
We
Ukraine.
all like
Stop
him.
the
Everyone
killing.
knows
This is really
President
our
Macron
common
of France,
interest.
who's been with me from
and
the
indeed,
beginning.
it's very
one
good to
of
hear that we're
the
working
first
on the
people I
security
met
guarantees, Article
was
5
a
life
foreign
security guarantees.
dignitary, and
so
I liked him from day
but
one.
I want to thank you also that you
And I like
mentioned
him even
the
more now.
thousands
That's pretty
of
good. That's
Ukrainian
unusual.
children that have been
That's a pretty
abducted.
unusual
and as a
thing.
mother and grandmother,
Prime Minister
every
Meloni
single
of Italy,
child
who's
has
a
to go back to its family.
really a
This
great leader
should
and
be
an
one of our
inspiration
main
over there.
priorities also in these
She's
negotiations to
served
make
now,
sure
even
that
though
the
she's a very
children
young
come
person.
back to
She's
Ukraine to their
served there for a
families.
long period of time relative
Thank
to
you,
others.
and we did.
They don't last
think
very
you
long.
were here
You've
for a different
lasted
reason, but
a long time. You're
we
gonna be
just
there
a couple of
long
weeks
time.
ago made the largest trade deal in history.
Chancellor
so
Merz of
that's a big,
Germany,
that's a big thing, and
who is,
congratulations. That's great.
very
Thank you very
strong
much.
person. And a very
Mr.
strong
Chancellor
leader, and very
from
highly
Germany.
respected in Germany.
Yeah.
And he's my friend,
Very
and
great
it's an
leader.
honor to have him
Mr.
as my
President,
friend.
Donald, many
very
thanks
much.
for having us
Very good. You
today.
look great with your
I think
tan.
this
Where'd you
is
get that
extremely
tan?
helpful that we
I wanna
are
get a tan like
meeting
that.
and hearing that
President
the two of
Stubb
you
of
are
Finland, and
having such a
he's,
good meeting today here in
he's
Washington.
somebody that
The next steps ahead were the more complicated ones now.
Oh.
The path is open.
You look better than I've ever seen you look.
Last Friday.
But
now
you've
the
done
way is
a
open
great
for
job, and we wanted to have you
complicated
here
negotiations.
because you're somebody that we all
And
respect.
To be honest,
And
we all would like
you've had
to
a lot
see
to do with the success, I think, and the
ceasefire.
potential success.
The
And
latest
thank you very
from the
much
next
for
meeting
being here.
on.
We appreciate it.
I can't
And
imagine
the president
that the
of
next
the European
meeting would
Commission,
take place
Ursula
without
von
a
der
ceasefire.
Leyen, who is
So let's work on that.
somebody
And
that
let's
we just
try
made a
to
big deal
put
with.
pressure on
With
Russia,
all of those
because
countries,
the
I don't know.
credibility
I
of
think you
these
might be
efforts,
more
these
powerful
efforts
than
we are
all these
undertaking
guys at this
today
table. I don't
are
know.
depending
But
on
you, we
at
had
least a
great
ceasefire
negotiation,
from the beginning of the
and,
serious negotiations from
you're respected
next
all
step
over the world.
on.
So I want to
would
thank you
like
very
to
much for being here. It's a
emphasize
great
this
honor to have you.
aspect and would like
The
to
Alaska
see
summit
a
reinforced my
ceasefire from
belief
the
that
next
while difficult pieces
meeting,
within
which
reach,
should
and I
be
believe
a
that
trilateral
in a
meeting
very
wherever
significant
it
step,
takes place.
President we're Putin going to agreed let that Russia would the president accept go over and talk to
security
the
guarantees
president
for
and,
Ukraine, and this is
we'll
one
see
of the
how
key
that works out.
points
and if
that we
can do
need to
that,
consider, and
I
we're
will say,
going to
and
be
again I
considering
say
that
it,
at the table
in the
also,
6 wars that
who
I've
will do
settled,
what.
I haven't had a
Essentially,
ceasefire.
I'm
We just
optimistic
got
that
into
collectively we should
negotiations,
reach an
and
agreement that would
one of the
deter
wars
any
was, as you
future
know, in the
aggression
Congo
against
was
Ukraine,
30
and I actually
years,
think there
31
won't be.
years
I think
long.
that's even
Another one that we settled
overrated,
last week with
largely
2
overrated,
great
but we're gonna
countries
find
was
out, and I
35
think
years
that
going on, and
the
we had no
European
ceasefire.
nations
So
are gonna
if we can do the
take a lot
ceasefire,
of the
great.
burden. We're going to help
And
them, and we're
if we
going to
don't
make
do a
it
ceasefire,
very secure.
because many
We
other
also
points
need to
were
discuss the
given to us.
possible
Many points were
exchanges
given to
of
us. Great
territory,
points.
taking into
Appreciate you.
consideration
Go
the
ahead.
current line of contact.
Well,
That
thank you very
means
much,
the
Donald,
war
Mr. President,
zone,
for
the
hosting us
war
today in
lines
this important
that are,
meeting. And
pretty obvious,
I think
very
it is
sad,
an
actually, to
important
look at
day,
them.
a new
And
phase.
negotiating
After
positions,
3 years and a
President
half that we
Putin,
didn't see any kind
also,
of
you
sign
have President
from the
Ukraine,
Russian side
who
that
is,
there was a willing
you just
for
met a little while
dialogue.
ago,
So something
and we're
is
gonna try and get
changing, something has changed,
three
thanks to you.
party
Thanks
meeting,
also
maybe
to the
as soon as we
stalling
can.
in the battlefield,
And I have a feeling you and
which was
President
achieved
Putin are going to
with
work
the bravery
something out.
of Ukrainians
Ultimately, this
and
is a
with the
decision that
unity
can only be
that
made
we all
by
provided
President
to
Zelensky
Ukraine.
and by
the reason why I
the
mention
people of
it is that
Ukraine
we
working
also have
also
to
together
remind
in agreement
that
with
if we want
President
to reach
Putin,
peace
and I just
if
think
we want
that's,
to
very good things
guarantee
are going to come of it.
justice,
So I hope
we
we have a good
to do
meeting,
it
and if we can have a good
united.
meeting,
So that's why
I'll set up a meeting
it's
with
a very
President
good
Putin.
day, the one
And
we are
if you'd like, I'll
we are
go
in.
to that
You
meeting.
can
and
obviously
not
count
that
on
I wanna
Italy
do
as
that,
it was
but
from the
I will
beginning.
do
We are
that
on the side
because
of
we want to
Ukraine,
save a
and
lot
we
of people from
do
dying. A lot of
absolutely
people are dying,
support
and we
your
got to save them.
efforts
We got to save
towards
5,000,
peace.
6,000, 7,000 people
We
sometimes
will
a week.
talk about
All
many
of us would
important
obviously
topics.
prefer an immediate
The first
ceasefire
one
while
is
we work on
security
a lasting
guarantees,
peace.
how
and
to be sure
maybe
that
something
it
like that could
won't
happen. As of this moment,
again,
it's not
which is the
happening. but,
precondition of every kind of peace.
President
I'm
Zelensky and
happy that we
President
will
Putin
discuss
can,
about that. I'm happy
talk
that
a
we
little
will
bit more
begin
about
from a
that.
proposal,
You know, in
which is
the 6 or
let's
so
say,
wars that
Article
we stopped,
5
we haven't had a
model,
ceasefire.
which
And
was
so I
Italian
don't know
at the
that
beginning.
it's
So we
necessary.
are
You can do
always
it through
ready
the
to
war,
bring our
but it would be,
proposals
I like
for
the
peace,
ceasefire from
for
another
dialogue.
standpoint.
It's
You
something we
immediately
have to
stop
build
the killing.
together
But I believe
to
a peace
guarantee
agreement at
peace
the
and to
end of
defend the
all of
security
this
of our
is
nation. So
something
thank
that's
you,
very
Mr.
attainable,
President, for hosting
and it can
us.
be done in the near future.
Emmanuel.
With all of the wars that I got involved
Thank
in,
you, Mr. President,
we only
for
have this one left.
organizing this,
Of course,
this
as I
meeting
walk
and
out the
for
door, there'll probably
your
be a new
commitment.
one starting, and I'll get that
And,
stopped too.
everything
But
was
I thought
said
this
that I
was
have
going to
to
be
s-
one of the easier
I
ones.
just
It's
have to
actually
say
one of the
here,
most difficult.
everybody around this
They're very
table
complex.
is in favor of
The next
peace.
step would be for a trilateral meeting,
and we work very
that
hard,
will
and
be
we've
worked
worked
out.
very
And
hard
I
in the
just
past
look
few
forward
forward to
have
working and having a great result. We're going to spend a lot of time today talking about, and we're really honored you guys came over. I mean, these are the heads of major countries.
It's very important because this is the only way to fix it.
Respected all over Europe.
And by the way, I think in
they
as a follow-up, we would need probably a quadrilateral meeting because when we speak about security
pretty much
guarantees,
for the other countries
we speak about the whole security of the European continent.
We will
and this
come
is why we are
to
all
a resolution
united
today, I think, on almost everything, including probably the security.
In order to organize such a trilateral meeting,
pretty much the
you
story. I'd like to say, Mr. President, would you like to say something?
At least to
you
stop
have the
the
media.
killings,
If you want, you could come over and you could stand. You could use mine, or you could just turn around, whichever you feel comfortable with.
And in order to have such a long-standing peace for Ukraine and for the whole continent,
speak without
we do need the security
Thank
guarantees.
you so much. I think that we had
And the
very
first
good
one is
conversation
clearly
with President.
a credible Ukrainian army.
It really was
for the years and decades to come.
Maybe the best one will be in the future.
Our own commitment,
but it was really good.
And we worked very hard during the past few months
sensitive points.
Among the coalition of the willing, with the support of NATO,
and we are very happy
to build
President
that pillars of security guarantees and our commitments. And you can be sure that the Europeans are very lucid about the fact that they have their fair share
and on those
in
leaders
the
who are
security
with
guarantees
us
for Ukraine,
in
but
our
their
hearts,
own
they have
security
been online
is clearly at
before
stake
yesterday and etc.
So
a
you
lot
can
of
count on
countries
us
on the
as we can count
side
on
of
you
Ukraine, our
in
people,
order to
and
deliver
all of us want to finish this war, stop Russia, stop this war. We spoke about it, and we will speak more about security guarantees. This is very important that the United States gives
thank you for hosting
such
us
strong
here.
signal.
Can I start where Emmanuel started, which is we all want peace.
The second point, or maybe the first,
war in Ukraine has had a
humanitarian
huge
direction,
impact,
very important to
particularly on the
change all the
Ukrainians who form the
prisoners, and
brunt of
I
it.
think that
But
President
it's
will
also
help,
had
and I was
impact
very thankful
on Europe
to
and on the
be
United
your wife
Kingdom.
again,
There's not a
Mr.
family or
President, for the
community that hasn't been
letter about
affected.
our abducted
And when we talk about security,
children,
we're talking
and
about the security
I
not just
hope
of
that
Ukraine,
really
we're talking about the
it
security of Europe
can
and
be
the United
historic
Kingdom
role
as well,
for the
which is why
people
this is
to
such an
bring
important issue.
kids
I think
back
this is such an important
to the
meeting.
families,
As a group,
be
I think
happy,
we've had a discussion
get
on
their
the phone
families.
a number of
Yes,
times,
this
Mr.
is
President, to be able
so
now to
important,
be
and
around
I'm
the
happy that
table
we discussed
to
it.
take it forward. And
We
I
struck with
really
President
feel
Trump,
that we
and
can,
I hope that we will
think,
find
with the right
decisions,
approach this afternoon, make
and,
real progress,
then what is
particularly on the
very
security
important
guarantees,
that all the
and your
sensitive
indication of
things,
security guarantees, some
territorial,
sort of
etc.,
Article 5 style
we will
guarantees,
discuss on the
fits
level
with what we've been
of
doing with the
leaders
coalition of
during
willing,
Trilateral
which we
meeting,
started
and
some
President
months
Trump
ago,
will
bringing countries
try
together and showing
to
that we were
organize
prepared to
such
step up
meeting,
to the plate when it came to security.
he said that he will come
with
or not
you
come.
coming alongside the US,
Ukraine will be
alongside
happy if
what we've
you,
already
if
developed.
you
I
will
think
participate.
a really important step forward
thank you.
today.
And I
Historic
think this is
step,
very
actually,
important.
to come out of this
Yes,
meeting
so
in terms of security for Ukraine and security
bring
in
kids
Europe.
back and
I
all
also
our
feel
people,
that
not only warriors,
we can make
first
real
world warriors,
progress
and all the
towards
civilians, journalists, a
a
lot of
just
people
and lasting
in prison.
outcome.
So we
Obviously,
need
that has
them
to involve
back.
Ukraine,
And guarantees which will work for the years. We
sensible
spoke
next
about it,
step. So
and
thank you for
I showed
being prepared to take that forward.
a lot
Because
of
I think
details on the
if we
battlefield,
can
on the map.
ensure
Thank
that
you so much.
that
Thank you for
is,
the map, by the way.
the progress out of this
Great.
meeting,
Yeah.
both security
I'm
guarantees
thinking
and
how
some
to
sort
take
of
it back.
progress on trilateral
We'll get you
meeting
I
of
think
some
that
sort to bring
we had
some of the
constructive
difficult
specific
issues
meeting,
to a head.
and
then
I'm
I think
very thankful to all
today will be seen as
all
a very
the
important
leaders who are
day
here,
in recent
and you
years.
help a lot.
In relation to a
and,
conflict which has
so
gone on for 3
we're
and a bit
happy
years,
that
and so far
we have
nobody's
such big
been
unity
able to bring
today.
it to this
Thank you,
point.
Mr.
So
President.
Thank you very much.
for hosting
Mr.
us.
Thank you very much.
I think
and
it's very interesting because this is the first for the White House. You can't say that up very often. It's seen a lot
when we
over
do,
the
I
years,
think it's going to be when, not
since
if.
1800,
I think you're gonna see some
1799,
very
to be almost
really
exact.
positive moves.
But this
I
is the
know
first
there's
where we've
over
had so many
1,000
prime
prisoners,
ministers,
and I know they're gonna
presidents, the
release
heads
them.
of
Maybe they're gonna release
European
them very soon, like
nations.
immediately.
And by the way, Alex, I'd
which
like
I think
you to
is
say a couple
great.
of words too. You're
But
a young,
we're going to set that
powerful
up
man.
today after this.
Before
after
I finish
this meeting.
up, I want you to say
So,
a couple of
very
words.
good and
Go
great
ahead.
remarks. I appreciate it.
Mark, as head of
I'll
NATO,
take
maybe you
the
could say a
notion
few
of
words.
youth
Yes,
back to
I
my
will
wife
be
and
very
try to
brief. I
convince
really
her.
want to thank you,
Thank you very much,
President of the
Mr.
United States,
President.
dear Donald, for the fact that
think
you,
in the
as I said
past
before,
2
broke
weeks
the deadlock.
we probably had more
with
progress
President
in
Putin
ending
by
this war than we
starting
have
that dialogue.
in the past
I think it was in
3.5
February
years.
that you had first
And I think the fact that
phone call.
we're around
From
this
there, we
table
are now
today is
where we are
very
today.
much
And
symbolic in the
I
sense that
think
it's
if we
Team
play
Europe
this well,
and Team
we could
United
end this.
States
And we have to
helping
end. We have to
Ukraine.
stop the killing. We have to
And the
stop the
progress
destruction
that we're
of
looking
Ukraine's
out of this
infrastructure.
meeting
It is a
is
terrible
about
war.
the security guarantees,
So I'm really
which
excited.
are a big part
and let's make the best out of today
this.
and make
and
sure
then,
that
of course, moving
from
towards the
today
process
onwards,
with the
we get
trilateral
this
meeting
thing
with
to
you,
an end as soon as possible. I
and
really want to
President
thank you
Putin
for
and
your
President
leadership.
Zelensky.
What you are doing
Some
for
of the
Vladimir, but of
international
course
media
also all
might
the European
wonder,
colleagues. It is really
why
crucial. And the
is
fact that
President
you
of Finland here?
have said,
I
I'm
think
willing to
reason is
participate
probably
in
that
security
we might come
guarantees
from a small
is
country,
a big step.
but we have
It's
a
really
long border
breakthrough,
with Russia,
and it
over
makes all the
800
difference.
miles.
So also thank you for that.
And we of course
Well,
have
NATO
our
also
own
has agreed
historical
from 2%
experience
to
with Russia
5%, which is
from
something
World
that
War
is
II,
a
the
massive
Winter
amount
War,
of
and
money.
the War
And
of
it's
Continuation.
2% that wasn't always
And
paid
if
to
I look at
5%
the
that
silver
is
lining
paid.
of where we stand
That's a big
right
difference,
now,
and
we found a
so we
solution
appreciate
in
that. That was a
1944,
great move.
and
Thank
I'm
you
sure
very much.
that we'll
Ursula,
be able to
maybe
find
on
a
behalf of the
solution
Commission, you
in
could say a couple of words.
2025 to end
Thank you
Russia's
very
war
much.
of aggression
It's a
and
pleasure to be
find
here.
and
It's
get
a very important moment.
lasting
indeed, we
and
are
just
here,
peace. The
Europeans
situation is
as
very
friends
difficult,
and
but
allies.
that's why
we
we're
had
here.
a fantastic
Thank
NATO
you, Alex,
summit.
very much. Good job.
Together as the two
So we're going
largest
to be
and biggest
meeting for
economies in
a
the
while,
world. We had
and we're
the
going
largest
to
trade
discuss
deal
some
ever
of the issues.
agreed.
And I don't think there's
now
any
we are
issue
here,
that's
to
overly
work together
complex.
with
It's
you
at a point now
on a
where
just and lasting
people want to
peace
do
for
things.
Ukraine.
I
Stop the
really do
killing. This is
believe.
really
I've known him for a
our
long time.
common
I've always had a
interest.
great
Stop the killing.
relationship with him.
And
I
indeed,
think
it's very good to
President
hear that
Putin wants to
we're
find
working
an
on the
answer
security
too.
guarantees, Article
And
5
we'll
life
see.
security
And
guarantees.
in a certain period
So
of time,
important.
not very far
But
from
I
now,
want to thank you also
a
that
week
you
or 2
mentioned
weeks,
the
we're going to know
thousands
whether or
of
not
Ukrainian
we're going to
children
solve this,
that have
or
been
is this
abducted.
horrible
And as a
fighting
mother
going to
and
continue? We'll
grandmother,
do our best to
every
get it
single
ended.
child has to go back
And
to its family.
I believe you have
This
two willing
should be
parties,
one of
and
our
usually that's
main
good news, but
priorities
two
as
willing
in these
parties that want to make a
negotiations
deal.
to make sure that the
And
children
we'll
come
journey
back to Ukraine
together,
to
and
their
we'll go
families.
over, and we'll
Thank you. And
see
we
if it
did.
can be
I
done.
was
Just
and
it's possible
it
it
might not be able to be done.
We just a
On
couple
the
of
other
weeks
hand,
ago
it's
made the
possible
largest
it will.
trade
It will
deal in
save
history.
thousands
So
and
it's a
thousands
big-
of lives a
That's
week.
a big thing, and
And
congratulations.
so
That's
it's something
great.
we really have
Thank
to
you
do.
very much, Ursula. And or at least we have
Mr.
to give it our
Chancellor
best.
from
That's all you can
Germany.
do. You can give it your
Very,
best, but I think we may have a
very
very
great
good
leader.
outcome.
Mr. President,
So I want to thank you
Donald,
all,
many
and
thanks
the
for
media. I
having
want to
us
thank you.
today.
We're going to
I
be
think this
staying
is
here for a little
extremely
while. Then we're going to walk
helpful
over
that
to
we
the
are
Oval
meeting
Office,
hearing
and
that
we're going to
the
have
two of
another little
you are,
discussion
having
about
such a
similar
good meeting
matters,
today
and
here
then
in Washington.
they're going to go home
The
to their
next
great
steps ahead
countries
are
and report.
the more complicated ones.
And I'm
now.
going to remain here
The
and work,
path
and you're
is
going to
open.
go and work.
We opened it
We're all going to be
last,
working.
Friday.
We
But
may
now
be in a
the
different
way is open
location,
for
but that's what we know how to do
complicated
is work.
negotiations.
But I want to thank
And
the media's
to
been
be honest,
actually very
we
fair,
all would
generally
like to
speaking,
see
very fair.
a ceasefire.
I think it's important that they're
The
fair
latest
because this
from
is
the next meeting
this is a
on.
very important.
I can't
This
imagine
is a very
that the
important
next
subject.
meeting
We have to
would
get
take
it ended.
place without
And so
a
that's all we ask for is
So
fairness
let's
with the
work
media.
on
Thank you
it,
all
and
very
let's
much.
try to
Appreciate
put
it.
pressure on
Thank you
Russia,
very much.
because the credibility of these efforts we are undertaking today are depending on at least a ceasefire from the beginning of the serious negotiations from next step on. So I would like to emphasize this aspect and would like to see a ceasefire from the next meeting, which should be a trilateral meeting wherever it takes place.
Well, we're going to let the president go over and talk to the president, and we'll see how that works out, and if we can do that. I will say, and again I say it, in the 6 wars that I've settled, I haven't had a ceasefire. We just got into negotiations, and one of the wars was, as you know, in the Congo was 31 years long. Another one that we settled last week with 2 great countries was 35 years going on, and we had no ceasefire. So if we can do the ceasefire, great. And if we don't do a ceasefire, because many other points were given to us, many points were given to us, great points. Please, George, go ahead.
Announcement about the Golden Dome
Well, thank you
missile
very much,
defense
Donald,
shield. That's
Mr.
something
President,
we
for
want.
hosting us today in this important
Ronald Reagan
meeting.
wanted it many years
And
ago, but they didn't have
I
the
think it is
technology.
an important day, a new phase, after 3 years and a half that we didn't see any kind of sign from the Russian side that there was a willing for dialogue. So something is changing, something has changed, thanks to you, thanks also to the stalling in the battlefield, which was achieved with the bravery of Ukrainians and with the unity that we all provided to Ukraine. And the reason why I mention it is that we also have to remind that if we want to reach peace and if we want to guarantee justice, we have to do it united. So that's why it's a very good day, the one we are in. You can obviously count on Italy as it was from the beginning. We are on the side of Ukraine, and we do absolutely support your efforts towards peace. We will talk about many important topics. The first one is security guarantees, how to be sure that it won't happen again, which is the precondition of every kind of peace. I'm happy that we will discuss about that. I'm happy that we will begin from a proposal, which is the, let's say, Article 5 model, which was Italian at the beginning. So we are always ready to bring our proposals for peace, for dialogue. It's something we have to build together. to guarantee peace and to defend the security of our nation. So thank you, Mr. President, for hosting us.
Very successful, and now we have technology that's even far advanced.
Thank you, Mr. President, for organizing this meeting and for your commitment. And everything was said, but I just have to say here, everybody around this table is in favor of peace. And we work very hard, and we've worked very hard during the past few years to have a peace which is a robust and long-standing peace. This is why the idea of a trilateral meeting is very important, because this is the only way to fix it. And by the way, I think as a follow-up, we would need probably a quadrilateral meeting, because when we speak about security guarantees, we speak about the whole security of the European continent, and this is why we are all united here with Ukraine on this matter. In order to organize such a trilateral meeting, your idea to ask for a truce or a ceasefire, at least to stop the killings as we discussed, is a necessity. And we all support this idea. And in order to have such a long-standing peace for Ukraine and for the whole continent, we do need the security guarantees. And the first one is clearly a credible Ukrainian army for the years and decades to come. And the second one is our own commitment, all of us. And we worked very hard during the past few months amongst the coalition of the willings, with the support of NATO, to build the different pillars of security guarantees and our commitments. And you can be sure that the Europeans are very lucid about the fact that they have their fair share in these security guarantees for Ukraine, but their own security is clearly at stake in this situation. So you can count on us, as we can count on you, in order to deliver this robust peace for both Ukraine and Europe. Thank you very much,
Mr. Prime Minister.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, and thank you for hosting us here. Can I start where Emmanuel started, which is we all want peace. The war in Ukraine has had a huge impact, particularly on the Ukrainians who've borne the brunt of it, but it's also had an impact on Europe and on the United Kingdom. There's not a family or community that hasn't been affected. And when we talk about security, we're talking about the security not just of Ukraine, we're talking about the security of Europe and the United Kingdom as well, which is why this is such an important issue. I think this is such an important meeting. As a group, I think we've had a discussion on the phone a number of times, Mr. President, but be able now to be around the table to take it forward. And I really feel that we can, I think, with the right approach this afternoon, make real progress, particularly on the security guarantees, and your indication of security guarantees of some sort of Article 5 style guarantees fits with what we've been doing with the Coalition of Willing, which we started some months ago, bringing countries together and showing that we were prepared to step up to the plate when it came to security. With you coming alongside, the US alongside what we've already developed, I think we could take a really important step forward today. A historic step, actually, could come out of this meeting in terms of security for Ukraine and security in Europe. I also feel that we can make real progress towards a just and lasting outcome. Obviously that has to involve Ukraine, and a trilateral meeting seems the sensible next step, so thank you for being prepared to take that forward, because I think if we can ensure that that is the progress out of this meeting, both security guarantees and some sort of progress on trilateral meeting of some sort to bring some of the difficult issues to a head, then I think today will be seen as a very important day in recent years. In relation to a conflict which has gone on for 3 and a bit years, and so far nobody's been able to bring it to this point, so thank you for that.
Well, thank you very much. And, you know, it's very interesting because this is the first for the White House. You can't say that very often. It's seen a lot over the years, since 1800, 1799, to be almost exact. But this is the first where we've had so many prime ministers, presidents, the heads of European nations. And by the way, Alex, I'd like you to say a couple of words too. You're a young, powerful man. Before I finish up, I want you to say a couple of words. Go ahead.
I'll take the notion of youth back to my wife and try to convince her. Thank you very much, Mr. President. I think in the past 2 weeks we've probably had more progress in ending this war than we have in the past 3.5 years. And I think the fact that we're around this table today is very much symbolic in the sense that it's Team Europe and Team United States helping Ukraine. And the progress that we're looking out of this meeting is about the security guarantees, which are a big part of this. And then, of course, moving towards a process with the Trilateral meeting with you and President Putin and President Zelensky. Some of the international media might wonder, why is the President of Finland here? I think the reason is probably that we might come from a small country, but we have a long border with Russia, over 800 miles. And we, of course, have our own historical experience with Russia from World War II, the Winter War and the War of Continuation. And if I look at the silver lining of where we stand right now, we found a solution in 1944. And I'm sure that we'll be able to find a solution in 2025 to end Russia's war of aggression and find and get a lasting and just peace. The situation is very difficult, but that's why we're here.
Thank you, Alex, very much. Good job. So we're going to be meeting for a while, and we're going to discuss some of the issues. And I don't think there's any issue that's overly complex. It's at a point now where people want to do things. I really do believe, I've known him for a long time. I've always had a great relationship with him. I think that President Putin wants to find an answer too. And we'll see. And in a certain period of time, not very far from now, a week or 2 weeks, we're going to know whether or not we're going to solve this, or is this horrible fighting going to continue. We'll do our best to get it ended. And I believe you have two willing parties, and usually that's good news, but two willing parties that want to make a deal. And we'll journey together, and we'll go over and we'll see if it can be done. And it's possible it might not be able to be done. On the other hand, it's possible it will. It will save thousands and thousands of lives a week. And so it's something we really have to do, and or at least we have to give it our best. It's all you can do. You can give it your best, but I think we may have a very good outcome. So I want to thank you all, and the media, I want to thank you. We're going to be staying here for a little while. Then we're going to walk over to the Oval Office, and we're going to have another little discussion about similar matters, and then they're going to go home to their great countries and report. And I'm going to remain here and work, and you're going to go and work. We're all going to be working we may be in a different location, but that's what we know how to do is work. But I want to thank the media. Has been actually very fair, generally speaking, very fair. I think it's important that they're fair, because this is a very important subject. We have to get it ended, and so that's all we ask for is fairness with the media. Thank you all very much. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Please go ahead. This is Senator Kramer. He's one of our best. Can't get any better. Go ahead.
Well, you're very nice, Mr. President, and thanks for this. And I remember the day in your first term when you called, and I was a brand new baby freshman senator on the Armed Services Committee, and you said, I want to have a Space Force. Would you lead the effort on the Senate Armed Services Committee? And I felt so proud thinking that you chose me, only to find out later no one else would do it. But nonetheless, it worked out really, really, really well, because North Dakota has some great space assets that contribute to that, and to Golden Dome. No surprise that you would be the president that would come along and put the homeland first. And this is just one more example of that. So thanks for this and for allowing me this opportunity. And by the way, let me just add my strong endorsement of General Goodline's role in leading this. I don't know anybody better, for sure, better equipped to do it than he is.
Everybody said that's for sure.
Well,
Dan Sullivan,
let me welcome you, Mr. President,
Mr. President, and thank you for your continued leadership on missile defense. We were talking earlier how
showing us
2019
and having this
on,
opportunity
you laid out a
to
speech
sit in
about
this fantastic
missile
ballroom,
defense review
is
that had all these
incredible.
principles
And
missile
to start
defense
talking
you
about some of the issues that are most pressing
your first term
in your country and my country.
Now the
in
Golden
particular.
Dome is
We've
all
had the
of that. So you're
opportunity to talk
continuing to
about
lead. We really
the
appreciate
situation
it.
in Gaza and
the Congress has
the
stepping up, as you mentioned right now in the budget reconciliation bill,
$25 billion for the Golden Dome.
I think both of us
in
know
what
that
Senator Kramer and Senator
we have
Banks
to get
and I
to
and
that
many others
ceasefire, and we
we're
have
working on
to increase humanitarian aid in. And thank you for what you've already been doing, are doing, and are committed to. Because without you, this would not be capable of resolution. And I think that if we can work not just on the pressing issues of the ceasefire, but also on this issue of getting humanitarian aid in at volume, at speed, and then we've discussed a plan for what then happens afterwards. I think we can do our very best to alleviate what is an awful situation at the moment. So thank you very much for the discussion we've had so far and the discussion we're about to continue on that really important issue. But it's fantastic to be here. Thank you for your hospitality and to see this amazing golf course. I'll invite you to a football ground at some stage. We can exchange thoughts.
It's been great being with you, and thank you very much, Mr. Prime Minister. And you've done a fantastic job with regard to the trade deal. You know, they wanted a trade deal here for years, many years, through many different terms of different people, and you got it done. So I want to congratulate you on that. And it's a great deal for both. It brings unity. We didn't need unity, but it brings us even closer together. I think it's good for both parties. We also discussed, obviously, Gaza, and I think before we get to phase 2, which is, what's going to happen afterwards, we want to get the children fed. We made a contribution a week ago of $60 million, all going into food. We only hope the food goes to the people that need it, because so much, as you know, when you do something there, it gets taken by Hamas or somebody. But it gets taken. But and we're prepared to help. We want to help. It's a terrible situation. The whole thing is terrible. It's been bad for many years. But it's great to hear you feel the same way that I do. We have to help on a humanitarian basis before we do anything. We have to get the kids fed. So we've been sending in a lot of food. A lot of the food that's been going there has been sent by the United States. I spoke yesterday with the president of the European Union, Ursula, who was terrific also on the subject, and she's going to play a big role also in helping us. So we have a good group of countries that are going to help with the humanitarian needs, which is food, sanitation, and some other things. It's very difficult to deal with Hamas, as I said. We got a tremendous amount of hostages out, but it would take place in drips and drabs. You get 10, you get 5, you get 2, you get 10, 12. We get 12 one time. Many of them would come to the White House, and they were so thankful. But I always said, when you get down to the final 10 or 20, you're not going to be able to make a deal with these people because they use them as a shield. And when they give them up, they no longer have a shield. And the people of Israel feel so strongly about the hostages. Some people would take a different view, but they feel so strongly about the hostages. So that's an ongoing process. Hamas has become very difficult to deal with in the last couple of days because they don't want to give up these last 20, because they think as long as we have them, they have protection. But I don't think it can work that way. So I'm speaking to Bibi Netanyahu, and we are coming up with various plans. We're going to say it's a very difficult situation. If they didn't have the hostages, things would go very quickly. But they do, and we know where they have them in some cases, and you don't want to go riding roughshod over that area because that means those hostages will be killed. Now, there are some people that would say, well, that's the price you pay, but we don't like to say that. We don't want to say that. And I don't think the people of Israel want to say that either, which is pretty amazing. A lot of people would say, just get it done and whatever it is. You could also say speed might be better for the hostages. With speed, you may have a better chance because they're in deep trouble. They're in deep trouble. You saw October 7th, and you saw what the damage and the horror that they committed. People can't forget that. They tend to forget it, but they can't forget. That was one of the most evil things I've ever seen. And you just cannot forget that. So we're very much involved. The Prime Minister's involved. I'm involved. I think I can speak. We just signed a very big
trade deal, the biggest of them all yesterday, right? And the European Union is very much involved in wanting to help with the Palestinians in terms of getting people fed. But the area of Gaza, another way of defining it is the area of Gaza. It's a very troubled place, and it has been for many, many years. It has been for many decades. So it's not like this just happened. This has been going on for a long period of time. So that's it. Our hearts are in the right place. We have some good news because the recent war that you just saw, they just announced, I see, the newest of the 5, now this would be 6 that we've stopped. I've stopped 6 wars in the last, I'm averaging about a war a month, but the last 3 were very close together, India and Pakistan and a lot of them. Congo was just, and Rwanda was just done. But you probably know, I won't go into it very much because I don't know the final numbers yet. I don't know. Numerous people were killed, and I was dealing with 2 countries that we get along with very well, very different countries from certain standpoints. They've been fighting for 500 years, intermittently. And we solved that war. You probably saw it just came out over the wire, so we solved it through trade. I said, I don't want to trade with anybody that's killing each other. So we just got that one solved. And I'm going to call the 2 prime ministers who I got along with very, very well and speak to them right after this meeting and congratulate them. But it was an honor to be involved. That was going to be a very nasty war. Those wars have been very, very nasty. So we've done a lot of good work. We've had great support from the prime minister anytime we needed help, anytime we needed any form of support. We've been there. We appreciate it very much. And we're going to continue onward. We do have to take care of the humanitarian needs at what they used to call the Gaza Strip. You don't hear that line too much anymore. You don't hear the Gaza Strip, but it is the Gaza Strip. And now we have the hottest country in the world. Amazing. This is the hottest country in the world. Nobody even close. It's not being handled a little bit differently. And we're going to set up food centers, and we're going to do it in conjunction with some very good people. And now we're the hottest country in the world. Supply funds, and we just took in trillions of dollars. We got a lot of money, and we're going to spend a little money on some food. And other nations are joining us. I know your nation's joining us, and we have all of the European nations joining us, and others also have called, and they want to be helpful. So we're going to set up food centers and where people can walk in, and no boundaries. We're not going to have fences, and they can't. They see the food from 30 you would say yards away, and they see the food. It's all there, but nobody's at it because they have fences set up that nobody can even get it. It's crazy what's going on over there. So we're going to work very closely together with your country, a great country. We also discussed inside that we are, there's a whole new thing happening with regard to energy from nuclear, and the Prime Minister is looking at that very strongly, and I know you have Rolls-Royce nuclear plants. That sounds pretty good, right? I love that. What a great brand that is, but you're also doing the Rolls-Royce or the nuclear plants, the smaller plants. We're doing smaller and bigger, but the small is interesting. They do a small plant, very easy, very safe, and as they need more, they hook up another plant, and they have a series of plants instead of, doing the $20 billion plant. That gets tough for a lot of people to do. So we're just studying that. It sounds like you're very far progressed, but that's a great thing you're doing on nuclear. We opened up nuclear about 2 months ago, and it's now safe and very inexpensive.
No, we see civil nuclear as a big part of our future as we go to sustainable, independent energy, and I think that between the 2 of us we can work very much more closely on this, and we've agreed that that's our ambition, that's our aspiration, and this is going to be a big part of the future when it comes to energy. And you can see in the last few years energy has been weaponized, prices have dictated both families and businesses across the United Kingdom, and therefore taking control control of energy is a huge prize. So the more we can work together on this, the better. And small modular reactors are a very big part of the future. And we've got great companies like Rolls-Royce involved in that. So I'm very much looking forward to working together with you, Mr. President.
So we're going up to your oil capital in a little while. We're going up to Aberdeen. That's called the oil capital of Europe. And it's a great asset that you have up there someday. If they ever change their thinking on that, you have a great and valuable asset. There's a lot of valuable resources underground there. Thank you. Thank you very much. It's a decision for you and America. It's a very amazing place, and it is considered the oil capital of Europe. It's another option that we have. So we are doing really well as a country, and I think that the Prime Minister has been so supportive of us,
of the United States,
and so strong and so respected, and I respect him much more today than I did before, because I just met his wife and family. He's got a perfect wife and family, and that's never easy to achieve, right? But he's become friend. And together we got a deal done that has not been able to be done. It was a deal that's very good for both parties.
A really good deal for both parties.
Well, thank you very much. Please sit down. Thank you very much. Please, thank you. We have a lot of great political leaders.
Any questions?
And the biggest political leaders around, I guess you could say, but by far much bigger are the business leaders. It's not even close.
I'm going to make a new deadline
of about 10. You have the greatest business leaders in the world here, so it's an honor. And this week we're celebrating the most successful first 100 days of any administration in American history.
I want to be generous, but
we're thrilled to welcome to the White House dozens of the world top leaders of all kinds, but in particular business leaders. And since the election, the companies represented in this room have collectively announced more than $2 trillion in new investments.
Well, it's going to be working with
we have
the
a
United
total
States will be
of close to $8
helping
trillion
with the food,
all told.
A lot of access to
and
food.
There's never been anything like that in this country. We've
and we're going to bring it over. And we're also going to make sure that they don't have barriers stopping people. You know, you've seen the areas where they actually have food. And the people are screaming for the food in there.
And we've done almost
35, 40 yards away.
In a period
and they won't
of,
let them because they have lines that are set up.
So something happened.
And whether they're set up by Hamas or whoever, but they're very strict lines.
I think two things happened. November 5th happened.
Some good, strong
and November 5th gave you tariffs,
save a lot of people.
Intelligently
some of those kids
are various
that's real starvation
other forms
stuff.
of
I see it.
But it's
you can't
really
fake that.
amazing. There's never been, I don't think there's ever been anything like this
even more
in the world. Together
we did some
going to bring back the
some air
most beautiful words. I always say, made in the USA, the most beautiful words. We're going to have made in the USA like we haven't had before in a long time. In addition to the business leaders whose companies,
they've done that for 100 years
I will
well,
mention in just a moment.
It's not very hard
great
to
people,
do,
great senators.
Yes.
Marsha, where are you? Where are you? Marsha, thank you very much. Marsha Blackburn, Bill Cassidy. Bill, thank you, Bill. Ashley Moody. Ashley, thank you.
Well, we have
and John
great love
Husted.
You know, my mother
thank you
loved
very much.
Scotland.
And Representatives Byron Donalds, Buddy Carter, Rob Whitman, Mark Alford, Mike Rogers, Richard Hudson,
some other
and
people.
Abe
But she loved the Queen. Whenever the Queen was on television, she wanted to watch. And she would come back religiously. She'd come back to Scotland once a year with my sister Marion,
governors, Jim,
primarily, and
Pillen,
sometimes my sister Elizabeth
Kevin Stitt,
also.
Mike Dunleavy, along with numerous other members of my cabinet.
And, we're talking about the Isle of Lewis. We're talking
my
about
cabinet has such good locations. You should have given them up.
That's serious
to the business
Scotland.
leaders.
There was no doubt about it. So yeah, it gives me a feeling.
They have a very good location. So I'm
you know,
not
it's different. You
surprised.
go to another country, you have no relationship.
100 days ago this week, we inherited the wreckage of 4 years of economic disaster under the previous administration. It was an economic disaster. It was a disaster at the border like nobody had ever seen before. And you probably see we've closed up the border 99.999%.
Well,
meaning
I
three
assume
people
when we
got
do our
in.
trade deal
Three.
overall, a lot of it comes to Scotland, I hope. Maybe all of it should go to
It's a very good deal.
As opposed to hundreds of thousands of people coming in on a monthly basis, millions of people actually. The periods where we had millions and millions of people pouring in on a monthly basis. We had 3 people.
We're dealing with the UK.
They buried companies in crippling regulations, waged war on American energy, pushed massive tax hikes, and gave us the worst inflation in the history of our country. In Biden's final year, the United States had the worst trade deficit ever recorded, and we lost 106,000 manufacturing jobs. Other than that, he's done a fantastic job. But now all that is changing, all that's changing very fast because we finally have the president who wants to put our country first. We have a president who believes in America first. In the first quarter GDP numbers just out today, core GDP, now we're removing distortions from imports, inventories, and government spending, was up plus 3%. But this is Biden's economy because we took over on January 20th. And I think you have to give us a little bit of time to get moving, but this is the Biden economy. But we still had and we've had a lot of things happen since November 5th that helped this economy because it was indicating a strong private sector growth. And it only started after November 5th.
It's not even really
the private sector started really heating up after the election, even though I wasn't there.
And some
people
said
knew
they
what
didn't
we were
think they
going
were
to be
going to make
doing,
it because they
and
were
the
losing
private
air.
sector
There wasn't
growth was
enough
actually
air.
very good.
They'd
Very
open up the
importantly,
pipe
gross
just in
domestic
time, but they
investment
didn't do it
was
on
up an
purpose. It
incredible
just happened to open.
22%,
They
which
got
they had
lucky.
never seen before.
But I said, did they
Every
ever
new
wink at
investment,
you and
every
say,
new
like,
factory, and
don't
every new
worry, you're
job
gonna be
created
okay?
is a
Did they
sign of
ever
strength in
give you
American
some extra
economy
food, even if it was
and
a
a
piece of bread?
declaration of
Did they ever give
confidence
you
in
anything during
America's
that time?
future.
And some
We
were
really
there
do.
for
We've
400 or
never seen
500
anything
days
like
now, right?
this.
It's a
Even
long
Sam
time, a year and a
Song,
half, more
whose
than
name
that.
isn't mentioned here, but
And
I
not
heard
one
that they
person
announced this
said there
morning
was any love
that
from
they're going to be
anybody.
building a
In
very
other words,
big
you have hundreds of
plant
people.
because they want to
And you
be
see it
able
in the
to
movies
beat the tariffs. It's the
where
only way to beat them.
somebody's a
The
prisoner and
entire
somebody's
Trump
helping.
economic
You even see
agenda
it
is
with
about
Germany,
making it easier to do
where
business in
people
America,
would
to create jobs in
be
America, to
let
hire
into a house
American
and
workers, and to
live
build
in
your
an attic
factories
in
here in
secret.
America,
You know, you
not
see
in China
signs
or
and
any
stuff.
other country.
I said, did you see anything
And
like? Did
we're
they wink
dealing
at
with
you?
many,
Did
many
they say,
countries
"Don't worry, you're
right
going to be
now,
okay"?
I will say. And
I never received. I asked
can
that
say
question all the
for
time.
Scott and for
I've never received
Howard
one answer that
and
said,
for some of
yeah,
the
they really wanted to
people
help.
that
No,
are
the
dealing.
hatred is
There's too
just
many to
incredible.
handle. I mean, to be honest with you, I'd have to hire I'd love to hire some of the people running these companies. Boy, would you do a
I think
good job.
Israel can do a
You
lot.
could have Jensen
I will
negotiate
say
and blow
that
my people
Iran,
away, wouldn't you? I think even Howard. Even
I think
Howard would say that.
interjected
Howard would
themselves
say,
in
"We'll
this
take
last
them."
negotiation.
You'd
Can you
blow them
imagine the
away
beating
with
they
big
took?
deals.
We wiped
One
out
deal
their
would be the
nuclear
end. That would be it.
possibilities. They can start again.
Well, we've terminated
if they
the
do, we'll
Green
wipe
New
it out faster
scam.
than you can
It was a scam.
wave your
and hold to
finger
tens
at it.
of billions of dollars
we'll
of
have to do that.
money,
we will
wasteful,
do that gladly,
deficit
openly
spending.
and gladly.
It was like throwing money right
They've been
out the
saying
window.
Iran's been sending
And in
out
the coming
bad
weeks,
signals,
we'll
I'll
pass
tell
the
you.
largest tax
For
cuts
a
in
country
American
that just
history.
got wiped out.
And I think
they've
even
been
more
sending
so
very
we'll
bad
be
signals,
doing things for
very
business
nasty
like
signals.
you've never seen before. You
And
saw
they
it
shouldn't be doing
in
that.
a little
They
smaller
shouldn't be
version.
doing that. They were talking about
at the beginning
things
of
that they
our
shouldn't be
last time.
talking
We had
about.
the
They were
most
interviewed
successful
on a recent
4
show,
years that any president
the
has
foreign
ever had.
minister
The stock
saying
market
things
was
that
up
he shouldn't be
88%.
talking about. Shouldn't be saying.
The other markets were up
And I
almost
think they got
100%.
involved in this negotiation.
And that's despite
telling
COVID and all
Hamas
the crazy things
and giving
happening.
Hamas
we had,
signals and orders.
We had a tremendous 4
that's
years.
not good.
Giving credit for that,
That's
actually.
not good.
But our big,
I would say
beautiful
that we
bill,
need
as
to
I
get
call it,
the
our big,
hostages out. They've
beautiful
been
bill.
held for a very, very long
We
time.
may name it that, actually. We'll include 100% expensing retroactive to January 20th.
Recognise the situation on
So
the ground
that's
in Gaza is
all the way
absolutely
back to
intolerable.
just
And I
about the
think
beginning
that,
of the year.
certainly
So
speaking
expensing
for
1
the
year, you
British
take a
public and
deduction
myself,
1
seeing
year, so
those
you can build
images
your
of
factories
starving
right now,
children in particular,
essentially almost tax-free, if you think
are
about it.
revolting.
Nobody's ever been given that, and we're going to make that expensing for a 4-year period at a full 100%.
We know that
So
humanitarian
last
aid
time we
needs to
made
get
it
in
1
at
year,
speed,
and
at
you
volume.
had the
Yes,
deductions.
some
You'd
can be
go from
working with
100%
others,
to
with
80
US,
to 60
with Jordan,
to 40 to 20 to
on that,
Zippo.
but the trucks need to get
And
in.
now what we're going to do is we're going to keep it at that level, and we're going to have it for 4 years. So I believe that was one of the reasons that we had such unbelievable growth. Also, we allowed you to bring money back from outside of the country. It was impossible. You had to have 15 different law firms representing you. It was so complicated. And worse was that the tax rate was 65%. I lowered the rate substantially, but still a lot. We shouldn't take your money, just hold you hostage, right? So we lowered it to a reasonable amount, and we took in trillions of dollars, came back. Apple brought in a tremendous amount of money. A lot of the companies here brought in a lot of money, and the businesses represented today clearly understand that if you build your factory in the United States, your tariff rate is 0.0. And you have other advantages too, and not the least of which is what I just said, having to do with the bill. Now we have to get that bill approved, so call your local representative, please, and make sure that we get it approved, because I don't want to talk too early, but we're doing well with the Republican Congress. We have the Senate is doing great, and the House is doing great. John Thune has been spectacular. Mike Johnson has been, Speaker has been spectacular. Marcia, you're in there working very hard and doing well. What do you think? We're going to get it passed?
Well, we'll be announcing on pharmaceuticals sometime in the very near future.
I'm blaming you.
Very big plan on pharmaceuticals. We want to bring a lot of the pharmaceuticals back to America.
I think we will.
You know, where they should be.
I don't think we'll have any Democrat votes. If we don't get it passed, what would happen is your taxes go up 68%.
From other countries, we almost didn't make any. We used to make them ourselves.
We may not get one.
We're going to want to be making a lot of them ourselves.
Trump derangement syndrome, in a sense. Maybe it's just they hate Republicans or they hate what we're doing because
we'll be dealing with
they've
you
lost their
on
confidence. They've totally lost their confidence.
And we certainly feel a lot better with your country working on pharmaceuticals for America than some of the other countries.
Get it done. It's probably going to be fully Republican.
The relationship we have, you would not use that as a cudgel. You wouldn't be using it as a
we may or may not have a couple of grandstanders. I don't know.
We're going to be announcing sometime very soon.
I mean, if I were a Democrat, I'd be voting for it 100%.
And the companies know.
Because I think it's very dangerous politically not to vote for it. Think of it, your taxes go up almost 68%. So
and that'll happen.
It looks like we're in good shape, I think. And hopefully we'll get it approved. It'll be the biggest bill ever approved in the history of our country. And it'll be the biggest tax cut ever approved in the history of our country. And in addition to that, regulations, which I'm doing in and outside of the bill, will be as big or bigger than we did last time. We have the record for regulation cuts in the 4 years. We cut 4 times higher than any other president in a 4-year period.
And other places.
And we're talking about
said, what's that all about? I spoke to him 3-4 hours ago.
2-term presidents.
And
it
looked like we were on our way.
4 times higher than any other president
I'd say
in terms
forget
of
it.
regulation
and
cuts.
I'm not going to.
And I went to a friend of mine who happens to be in the room, one of the biggest business leaders. I won't mention him because I don't know. Maybe he'll like it, maybe he won't. I said to him, so if you had your choice between the big tax cut last time and the big regulation cuts, which were the biggest we've ever done.
My side?
I would have said taxes, but he would have said regulation.
Well, I don't think he's going to censor my side because I say only good things.
And he said, please uncensor my side.
We're not censoring
most important would have been regulation. The regulation was more important than the tax cut.
In particular,
and I mean, we cut your taxes from almost 40% down to 21%. Now we're bringing your taxes down from 21% to 15%. If you build your product, make your product in the USA. So if you make it in the USA, those chips, those beautiful chips, you make those suckers in the USA, and you're going to be all the way down to 15%. And I think there's never been anything like it. So now we're at the lowest scale for a large country, by far the lowest scale.
We're very, very proud of it.
Our pro-jobs, pro-American economic policies are a major reason that businesses around the world have announced $5 trillion of investment since November 5th, and now we think it's up to plus $8 trillion.
We actually
and they're
passed
really
a bill in
coming
Congress headed up by
they're
my
really
wife,
coming in
actually,
fast. Some of them don't bother calling us. Some of them don't even want meetings. They don't
having
want
to do with children because it is a problem.
Their
but
plants.
I cannot imagine him censoring.
I want to express my tremendous appreciation to the business leaders here. You are really an amazing group.
Success.
Not going to happen.
This is a who's who.
I only say good things about him and his country.
Say,
so
there's an
if they
expression of
censor me,
something
you're making
ever
a
went off.
mistake.
The entire industry
give
would
my
be wiped
ambassador
out,
the job. Make sure
I
it's
want to
not
think very positively.
I had not heard.
And that could never happen here, could it? But I want to congratulate you all on your incredible success and accomplishments. You're amazing. You're the biggest and the best.
That we built from
So I'd
scratch.
like to introduce some of you, President and CEO of Hyundai, Jose Munoz. Jose, thank you very much. Fantastic.
So I think that I have
Jose is investing
a theory that low taxes
21
bring
billion, including
growth. We just
5.8
passed a
billion
big
for a
tax
new
cut
steel
bill, the
plant
biggest
in
bill in the history
Louisiana,
of our
which is a
country,
beauty. I
actually.
saw a picture of it,
And,
which is
one big,
going to
beautiful
create
bill.
at least
I used to call it
1,500
the
jobs
great
just to plant
one
alone.
big,
Thank you
beautiful,
very
which
much,
we're great
Jose.
at.
Beautiful.
But it's actually called the one
Chairman
big,
and
beautiful
CEO
bill.
of
It's
Global Shipping
it's
Giant
essentially a
CMA,
very large tax cut bill
CGM,
for everybody.
Rudolph
And our
Sadeh.
country's
Thank you, Rudolph.
Pretty
Thank
soon,
you
I
very
think
much.
I think I can say it right
Fantastic.
now. Our country's
Investing
never done better.
$20
We had a
billion
country that was
in creating
dead.
10,000 new
It was
jobs
dead
at least.
6
Thank
months
you very
ago,
much.
a year ago.
Fantastic.
Leaders
Be very
from
happy.
NATO, when
President and CEO of Toyota North America,
NATO, your
Ted
prime minister was there. It was an
Ogawa,
unbelievable love
investing
fest with all of
$88
those
billion.
countries.
Where's
And,
Ted? That's
They agreed to
fantastic.
go
Thank you,
5%
Ted.
and all of the things.
That's
It's very smart to
fantastic.
do.
Ted's investing
But,
88
many of the
million
leaders
for
said, you
car
know,
production
essentially, they
at
said,
its West Virginia
your country
factory,
was
which
dead
is a
1
beauty.
year ago.
I've seen it, actually.
1 year ago, we had a dead, and we did. We had a dead
Congratulations. Thank you
country.
very
We
much
had a
for being
president
here.
who didn't know where the hell he was.
Co-founder and CEO of
We had
Andrew,
horrible,
Brian
horrible people
Schimpf.
running our country.
Oh, Brian, thank you,
I think
Brian.
they were sick people.
He's
actually,
investing
sick. You talk about censorship. Those are
$1 billion
big
for a
that's all
new
they did was
manufacturing
censor.
facility in
They didn't know
Ohio
what to
and
do.
display.
And they had
Next
high
to me
taxes.
is their
They wanted more tax, total
125-pound
censorship,
Roadrunner
transgender
drone.
for
Where is that
everybody,
little
men
sucker?
playing
Where
in
is it?
women's sports.
Which is
Everything bad they
whoa.
wanted, and they still
That's
do.
a-
That's what they still
that's
do.
a
That's why they're down
nasty-looking
at
thing.
15% or something.
That's
I saw
that
today,
nasty.
the
I
lowest
look up there when
that
I'm
the
having
other part
dinner
of the
outside.
Democrats
I used to
have
look
ever
up and see the moon.
But no, I think
Now
I
you see
find
the
that
moon,
when
but
you
see
lower
drones
taxes,
all
you
over
get
the place.
growth.
And they say,
will
let's
say
get the hell out of
this
here.
and the
That's,
Prime Minister hasn't been here very long.
That's a good one,
office.
isn't
I
it?
think
Huh? I can see it.
he'll be a tax
CEO
cutter.
of Worldwide
But,
Amazon
I find that
Stores,
as
Doug
we cut
Harrington.
taxes, we
Thank
did
you
more
very
business.
much.
You know,
Thank
my
you,
first
Doug,
tax
very
bill,
much.
we cut taxes from 39% down
Investing
to 22%.
$4 billion
And we ended
this
up
year
at the
alone,
end of
and
the
they,
first
I know
year.
they
The first year,
said they're
when it
going
was
to be
still
investing a
little
lot
low,
over the next 2 years.
we ended up
appreciate
taking
it
in
very
much
much.
more
Thank you. Say hello
revenue
to
than we
everybody.
did at 39%.
CEO of
It was pretty
Venture
amazing.
Global, Mike Sable.
And we're taking in a lot of
Mike,
revenue right
thank
now.
you very
and
much,
this was
Mike.
an additional tax cut. So
Investing
I
$18
find
billion
for whatever it's
in
worth, tax
liquefied
cuts are
natural
very
gas
good.
expansion in Louisiana. That's going to work out good. Thank you very much. President and CEO of Siemens USA, big company. Barbara Humpton.
So what I'm doing is we're going to do
Thank you,
secondary
Barbara.
sanctions
Thank
unless
you
we
very
make a
much.
deal. And we might make a deal. I don't
Investing
know.
$285
You don't
million.
know.
Executive
It's,
Global Chairman
we've
of
done
Pratt
so many peace
Industries,
deals.
friend of mine, Anthony
This is
Pratt.
the one I started
He's
out
investing
with.
$5
and,
billion.
this is- I
Thank
know
you. Thank you,
President Putin
Anthony.
called me. He wanted to know if I could help him with Iran. I said, no, I don't need your
I
help
read
with
a
Iran. I
report
need
today
your
he's
help
the
with
richest
Russia.
man in Australia, but who the hell knows? Do you think you're the
so
richest
that's
man
the
in
one deal
Australia?
that continues to linger. And you know, we're
Close.
losing 5,000. They're losing. I'm
I don't
not
like
losing.
to put
You're
you on
not
the spot
losing.
like that, Anthony,
But
but that's pretty
5,000
good.
Russian
Thank you very much.
and Ukrainian
That's great. $5
kids
billion.
a week are dying.
Founder and CEO.
And that's not mentioning the people that are dying also in towns where he's lobbing missiles
Where are you?
into certain
Thank you
towns
very
like
much.
Kiev.
Investing
And
$1.2 billion.
He's got to make a deal.
Thank you very
It's,
much.
Too many people are
CEO
dying.
of
It's a really
Bell
bloody
Brands
war.
USA,
and the five is
Yvonne
really telling me
Girard.
that number is
Yvonne, thank you very
obsolete.
much.
Like 7.
Thank you very
So
much.
you have
$350
7,000
million.
Russian and Ukrainian soldiers dying
President
every
of
single
Schneider
week.
Electric North America,
For no
Hammer
reason
Paul.
whatsoever.
Hammer,
So
thank you very much.
You would think, based on common
Investing
sense, you would think you'd
$700
want to
million
make a
for
deal. We'll
energy
find out.
infrastructure, its largest investment in its 135-year history. Chairman and CEO of Johnson & Johnson. Oh, I know. I've heard of that company, huh?
Pressure and deadline.
Yeah. My hair looks so beautiful because of your
you're the
product.
press. I'm reiterating it to you.
Joaquin Duato,
I'd say 10 to
$55
12
billion
days. I'll announce it
manufacturing
probably tonight or
plant,
tomorrow.
research and
But there's no
development
reason
and
to wait.
technology. Thank you very much.
If you know what the
$55
answer is going to
That's
be,
a
why
lot.
wait? And it would
But you
be
got to catch up with
sanctions
Apple and somebody
maybe,
others. We got to get you to make a living.
Tariffs,
One of the few
secondary
companies
tariffs, you
that
know what
could
a
do that,
secondary
right?
tariff is.
Chair and CEO of
And,
Eli Lilly, a great
the
guy.
Russian, I don't want to do that to
Every
Russia.
time I
love
talk
the
to him
Russian
about
people.
drug prices,
They're great people.
he sweet talks me.
I don't want to do that
He tells
to
me
Russia,
about
but
the middleman. The middleman
this-
keeps telling me
this
about
thing,
the middleman.
they're
By the
losing a
time,
lot of Russians.
by
They've
the
lost
time
a
I leave
million
the meetings, I
Russians.
was telling my people, I
And
I
that's
say,
the,
gee, he's
you know,
giving us a great
sons-
bargain. You know,
That's
so-
the sons and daughters.
But David,
of,
you have done some job. David
Russian
Rick,
families that leave the
you have
house
done
and go
some
buy
job.
mom,
I'll see you
buy
later,
dad,
Tim.
and then they get blown away.
$27 billion
And Ukrainian
doubling
too.
its
Look at
manufacturing
Ukraine.
investment
It's
in the
a
U.S., and he's
disaster
got a
what's
very
happened
hot
there.
topic right now.
But it
going,
continues to go on.
This stuff is doing really well, isn't it?
As you know, we made a
Really
deal
hot
where
company.
the European
Thank you very much, David.
Union is
CEO
essentially
of
involved, but it's
Novartis,
NATO, and
Voss,
we're
Nara,
we're
Sim,
supplying weapons
and
to
that's $23
NATO.
billion.
NATO's now paying,
Thank
'cause
you. Thank you
the
very
United
much.
States, because of
Thank
Biden's
you,
in for
boss.
$350 billion. The European
CEO of
nations are in for
Genentech,
about $100 billion. It
Ashley
should be the opposite way, by the
Mugargi,
way,
$50 billion.
because we have a big ocean
Whoa.
in between.
That's a
Should
lot
be
of
the
money.
opposite way. But
Good. Thank you, Ashley. That's a big
I
one.
think
CEO
that
of
eventually something's going to happen.
AbbVie,
It should happen
Rob
fast.
Michael,
So
$10
many
billion.
people are dying.
Thank you very much.
You know, when I settled out
Thank
with
you. Good company.
Congo and Rwanda,
President and CEO
they
of
lost
Thermo
almost
Fisher,
8
Mark
million
Casper, $2 billion.
and
Thank
it
you.
just
Mark,
made so
very
much sense. And if I didn't get involved, they wouldn't have done it. They
Chairman
weren't even
and
thinking about
CEO of
settling it. It
Merck,
was just
great
going
company,
on forever.
Rob Davis,
And nobody
$9
could go
billion.
into those
Thank you very
territories
much, Rob.
because they'd get killed. They'd get killed.
Chairman and CEO
And
of
now
Abbott,
they have a
Robert
here's a whole
Ford,
different
$500
ballgame. We settled
million.
it.
Thank you,
Now,
Robert.
This is one that should be settled. Russia, Ukraine.
Chairman and
This is
CEO
one
of
that
a
really should be
company
settled.
called IBM. Arvind, where are you? Where are you? Thank you very much. That's fantastic. $150 billion. That's all? That's great. Thank you very much. You've done a great job. You've done a great job with that company, too, I'll tell you. Chairman and CEO of GE Aerospace, Larry Culp.
Well, I don't want to get
Larry,
involved in
thank you very much,
We don't
Larry.
have politics of our own. I
And
will say
Larry's
that
investing $1 billion
I
in
predicted
manufacturing
what
across
was gonna
16
happen the last
states, and
time.
with
You
us as
remember,
we
I was
have the
opening
model of their
the first course over at,
110
Aberdeen.
engine, which I hear is like,
And I was over here.
I must tell you, I hear it's the hottest
And
engine there
at
is.
the same time, and they asked
you
me
got a
that question.
gold
I made
mine
a
over
prediction.
there,
It was the day
which
before
powers
the
our
vote.
nation's finest fighter jets.
And I made a
other
correct. I
jets.
like to be correct.
And your
but
big
I made a
engine is
correct
really
prediction.
something that I hear is
I don't
beyond
know.
anything
I do
that
say
has been
that when
produced
they made
yet, so.
that